Somewhere unknown to us, a small family living in isolation from the rest of the world without being governed by any self-proclaimed king, are now forced to leave their family home after their parents' death, as the young siblings are now refugees. But as the only thing they know about the outside world comes from stories, myths and legends about trolls and witches, they now travel with great uncertainty. Welcome to WildHjarta, a dark fantasy role-playing adventure with a focus on mystery and terror. Don't turn your eyes or ears away from the story, because everything you see and hear is all real, and it can all be interacted with. But if you didn't notice it and you walked past it, you missed the clue. Those are the only rules I will tell you, as I, your storyteller, are gonna be lurking in the shadows. But do remember and take heed on the fact that all actions matters, as everything will be noted down on your character sheet for your character's development. And I will sit here and let you guess as you work your way forward, as this world works in mysterious ways. Are you going to solve WildHjartas' riddle, or are your souls gonna be trapped forever? We can only wish the young siblings good luck, as their story now begins when they arrive at a small nearest village. It is night, and all the houses are laying sleepingly dark, except for one, the green oak guest house that is filled with songs and light. As you open the door, your journey now begins. Alright, welcome. So, with us we have Tangelo, and we have Amp, and we have Zach. Tangelo, why did you guys become refugees, and what happened to your parents?
We're coming up with a backstory here? Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
And you can do, you're basically gonna create this little short backstory for you and your friends here.
Okay. So we're all three of us are siblings then in this world?
We don't know your age, your gender, or who's oldest yet.
Well, our parents died, and so we're out in the world trying to make sense of things, I suppose. What do you think, Zach? Do you have any ideas? I imagine there might be some sort of, like if this is a fantasy setting, there might be some sort of potentially monstrous reason that our parents are no longer with us.
You have actually never really seen monsters. You've seen trolls.
Okay.
You've seen trolls. But you have heard stories about dragons and things like that. And songs about dragons too.
Are trolls evil in this world?
They eat humans. So that's evil enough for you guys.
That's pretty evil. Evil enough.
Yeah. Humans don't like trolls. They're always bad stories about trolls.
Definitely.
I was like, I imagine being woken up in the middle of the night, hearing a scream, and getting up and timidly venturing out into the hall and finding a trail of blood leading to the front door, which is hanging off of its hinges.
Oh, I like this.
Definitely like that. And so I imagine we investigate to find, would we find corpses, or would they just be missing, do you think?
That's up to you. This is your backstory. They could be missing and you're looking for them, I guess, also.
Right.
It's up to you. Or you saw them being eaten alive by trolls.
I also imagine going into the parents' bedroom and finding a bloody mess in the bed, but there's not enough for two people. And can't tell who it is and who is missing.
So the mangled remains of one of the two.
Possibly.
So off we venture to find if we can discover what killed, or if there remains any remnants of one of the two parents. I would also probably say that our parents did most of the venturing to various towns, and so that also explains why we know so little about the outside world as far as getting food supplies for us.
So what have you guys been living on? Like, what is your trade? How does your family make food and.
I imagine we
hunt.
might be at least somewhat reliant. So we probably have a small farm. Probably hunt and trade furs to the nearby town.
Okay, so you have traveled a little bit to towns, heard some rumors and stories, and then sold fur and maybe some food, and then you're basically hunters.
That sound about accurate.
And your parents, if I understood correctly, you woke up, they were gone. You haven't actually seen their corpse, but you found a struggle, and they have been dragged away.
We found remains of one corpse, but we can't tell which one it was.
Okay, so it's very brutal. Zach, who's the oldest in this group of the siblings? Could be you, don't have to be you, and you're now allowed to decide if someone is older than you.
I imagine Tangelo being the eldest.
All right.
And then being the middle child myself.
And Amp is the youngest.
Yes.
Tangelo, how old are you?
How old am I? Well, I imagine I'm almost an adult. While our parents did most of the trading and whatnot, I have been taught at least some of it. So I'd consider myself probably getting close to of age, maybe around 18.
All right. And what is your name?
My name?
Your names can be very Nordic, and actually it can be any form of style,
Nordic.
but very
Nordic names. My name will be Balder.
Balder.
Not a pun to being bald, of course, but
I understand. Yeah.
a reference to a Norse myth.
And what is your most precious thing in your life?
Probably
it could be an object.
A little. Yeah. That would probably be a little trinket I wear on a necklace, carved out of a branch of mistletoe.
We are going to showcase that you have a small inventory with you. So you have some deer pelts, you have some copper coins, tailings of food, knife, and your little necklace.
Oh, and I don't know if it matters, but that necklace was given to me by my mother.
While we're still waiting for Amp and while we're creating characters, you're now standing in front of the Great Oak Inn. That is looks like a very big building. There's a lot of songs and music inside it, and I believe that you venture in. But where are you guys heading towards? Zach, where is your sort of destination?
Our destination is trying to find someone with the knowledge to help us locate or figure out what took our parent.
Okay. So you're basically out searching for information about trolls, kinda, I guess.
Yeah, like searching for information on trolls or trying to find a ranger-esque or hunter person that has more knowledge than we do.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Nice.
Oh, amazing. Amazing. So, while you're here, Amp, it's your time to actually get to share in the story here. So you're the youngest amongst the siblings. How old are you?
Being the youngest, I get to decide. I'm gonna say I am. What?
And I was the eldest.
Yes.
Yes. Oh wait, how old was?
Sorry?
The eldest was 18.
Okay. I will be a little 14-year-old.
Tiny guy. And what's your name, Amp? Your older brother is Balder.
Oh, let's see. I will be Corgo.
I wonder what's gonna happen with you in the future. So you're just arrived.
Turned into a dragon.
Yeah, eat stuff, hungry kid. So you just arrived to this tavern. You've never actually been to this village. This is a woodcutting village. They basically cut wood and then trade wood throughout other towns and etc. And what you've missed basically, Amp, is that, or Corvold, is that your parents were killed, abducted, and you left your family farm. You were hunters, and you were trading in pelts, and now you're trying to get some information about where there could be troll engagement, etc., etc. In the marshland, found huge track marks of a creature with enormous feet. And you hear this rumor from a table nearby.
Any news at all from the north.
I want to approach the table and ask them what made those tracks. Where did they come from?
Oh, we don't know really. There was something they found a long time ago. Really huge tracks, they said. And it's been very deep pushed down into the ground, so we wouldn't really know who made it. And it looks like they're gonna last for a while also. Some form of monster at an enormous, huge size, I believe.
Bigger than a troll?
Oh, you know, there are trolls that are actually really enormous. I mean, some people even say that some trolls are as big as mountains.
Ridiculous. I've never heard of such a thing.
Oh, you shouldn't be too wary. Do you know trolls comes in all strange sizes? Some are actually just one head larger than a human, while others are really enormous. But if you wanna ask around, I believe the information about this place is in another village to the east.
What village is that?
A Grey Harbor.
Grey Harbor is the name of the village?
Yes, that is where they found these track marks.
Interesting.
Interesting.
That is why I left. And I'm definitely never going back. That smoke tower.
So you're also a bit hungry, and you might believe that you have to spend the night here.
Man, I used to work with delivering
Okay.
wood to that place.
I imagine I'd go up to the barkeep and ask how much it would cost for three brothers to stay a night.
Oh, that's fine. A copper coin for each one of you, and a breakfast will be included in that. Absolutely, that's enough. We have a very small room, but I think I can fit you into a two-man room. One might have to sleep on the floor, or you might have to share beds, but...
That's more than fine. I'll hand over 3 copper coins.
Oh, only 1 copper coin, actually, for all of you.
Oh, you said 1. Okay, got it. That is 1 per. Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Zach, you are the middle child. How old are you?
I imagine right slap in the middle at 16.
And what is your name?
I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's Sulo, like Sulo. It says it's Finnish.
So, Sulo, what is your most precious thing in the entire world? What is the dearest to your heart?
A small scrimshaw figurine that our father taught me how to carve out of the bones of some of the animals he had trapped.
And you have your room. Do you want to go to bed right now, or do you want to stay up for a little bit longer?
Did you say we have already been to this town or not yet?
No, you've never been in this place, and you've never been at Grey Harbor either. You believe it's gonna take a
What
day
led us?
to basically walk to Grey Harbor if you want to.
Sure. What led us to this town instead of the town we usually go to sell?
Oh,
all
you've
of
been
our
you've
pelts
been
and
traveling
whatnot?
forward basically. So you went to the usual towns and you didn't get anywhere there, and you kept going further, a little bit in the same direction.
Okay.
You basically
Sure.
asked your way forward, and
Okay. Cool.
it's very easy to ask for directions. And you've already gotten a good direction how to get to Grey Harbor. You're gonna walk in a straight trail next to a big forest, and you believe that there's a short pass to go through a forest that could take it maybe less than a day to get to that place.
What do you guys think? What is the weather like right now? What is the season outside?
It's kind of summer, or
Okay.
it's ending a little bit in summer and moving towards fall.
Okay. What do you guys think? Do you want to keep on asking around the tavern for some information, or we are quite tired? What do you boys say?
I imagine it would be best to get as much sleep as possible so we can make headway early in the morning.
So you go to bed, you fall asleep immediately, and the next day you wake up quite early in the morning, around 5 o'clock. Your eyes are starting to like peak up, and you look out, and it's like this. Oh, I wanna stay a little bit longer. And you're starting to stretch, and you're really stiff and all, and slowly you can make your way upwards, and there's food served down in the tavern as a breakfast. But if you can stay in the bed if you want to as well.
I am hungry, so I'm gonna go eat.
All right.
Yeah, same.
Yes.
They're serving some potato rabbit soup, basically. Simple stuff.
That's
So-
actually not too bad. I've had it before.
yeah. So you
Hearty.
eat up.
Hearty
Your-
Yeah.
It feels nice and it feels well and makes your belly warm. And do you want to travel to Greytown or Grey Harbor immediately, or there's anything else you want to look around in this place for? You have currently 7 copper coins remaining. 2 chickens for a copper coin, basically.
How much? How many pelts did we have?
4.
Is that
deer
something we
pelts.
want to potentially 4 deer pelts? Those generally go for quite a lot, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Could
I
we
guess
trade?
we'll. That's what I'm wondering. Yeah, see if we can trade, do some trading around here.
I was thinking to find a possible bow and quiver of arrows.
Yeah, you are hunters.
Do we not? Yeah, do we not have bow and arrows, or?
I believe you've been hunting with traps, mostly.
Oh,
Because
fair
that
enough.
is the easiest
enough.
way to normally hunt. But you know how to handle a bow and arrow.
I guess I'll ask around.
Mhm.
And I guess we'll split up and ask around, see if anyone knows. See if anyone can find someone who's willing to trade, or if we can find someone in this town that's willing to do some trading.
Yeah, after walking around for a while, you see someone who is who has a bow, and you see other people that got bows, and yeah. No one is having having a market. There's not really a market that someone is selling bows, so to say, but people have bows.
Sure. Okay. You said they're a woodworking town, right?
Yes.
So you just we see people with bows, or you
Yeah, there some people have bows from time to time. You're guessing that they are hunters themselves, potentially.
Okay. I'd like to approach one of these hunters and ask if they have any spare bow and some ammunition that you could spare some traveling brothers, in exchange for some deer pelts, of course.
Yeah, sure. I haven't hunted in a while. I'm getting a little bit too old for it. Much more money making, wood cutting. A deer pelt, you say? Yeah, we can trade a deer pelt for this bow and quiver if you want it.
Seems fair, more than fair to me.
Alright. Your arm looks strong, so here you go. You get a bow and a quiver. Meanwhile, Corvold. So, you're able to read for a 14-year-old. But you grew up in a very poor state and quite isolated. But why are you able to actually read?
I'm able to read because my mother taught me.
Uh-huh.
But she learned after my other 2 siblings had already grown up.
Okay. So when you were really young, too young to basically do labor work,
Yeah.
she taught you to read.
Yes.
But there was basically a waste of time trying to teach your older siblings. Alright.
Yep.
So,
Corvold is the scholar of the household.
yeah.
He'll make the big bucks.
I'm smart.
So, is there anything else you would like to look around for in this little village? If you want to have an estimation of how big this place is, it's about 8 really big buildings. Like a big long houses, so to say. Otherwise, it's somewhere 8 o'clock in the morning.
I imagine.
What do you think, Sulo? And yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. I don't think there's much to be found waiting around here. We have to find what these prints are, see if they have any link to our missing parent.
While we are still a little bit on the backstory side, Saul, why were you against the idea of leaving the family house? You were convinced by the other 2 brothers, but you wanted to stay. Why?
I wanted to stay because I felt that whatever took our parents wasn't something that was traveling. It was something that lived near here, and that if we were going to find them, we needed to comb the area where we lived first before heading out trying to chase down something that may not even be there.
10 days of food. Okay. We already have 10 days of food. I was going to suggest maybe going around in the nearby woods and trapping some more food, potentially. See if we find... And while we're out doing that, maybe we see some sort of tracks in the woods that could help us in our cause.
Oh, you start going towards the wood to maybe hunt a little bit?
Just a little bit, maybe for a few hours before we head out.
Okay, yeah.
What do you two think about that? Like while we're searching, being directed through certain...
That sounds good.
There were a path to Grey Harbor that were going through the forest a little bit, actually.
Yeah, so we can start on the path and hunt on the way.
That makes sense. That will definitely slow down our travel time, obviously, but that's fine.
Yeah. So you start making your way. First, you have to walk quite a lot, actually, for like 2 hours in a very open field. And then you basically see that the trail is heading in two different directions. One is going away from the forest, and one is going more into the forest. You've currently been walking a little bit towards the forest, and now you have the option of going inside. And as I understand it, you wanted to go inside the forest trail and maybe hike, maybe find some tracks of deer and other things like that.
I'd like to take a look at those berries, see if I know anything about them, if I've seen them before. Would I know that they are edible?
Corvold actually knows this, and they are not edible at all, actually.
You don't want to eat those.
No.
Mess your stomach real well.
Like how bad?
You might die.
Yeah, you die, apparently. I was gonna say something different, but...
I say might. You might die.
Drop the handful of berries I picked.
Dehydration. Wouldn't be good.
Darn. I was just wanting to have a nice sweet taste of something there.
But good catch. Good catch. It's a very bright and nice day, and you're walking steady and fast, and eventually you do see a few deer tracks, and you know these as deer tracks because you are experienced hunters that are going in towards the forest. Or you could keep on going forward on your own track, so to say.
I've always been better at the tracking and tracking and trapping part of hunting, so I'm going to hand the bow and arrow over to Sulo. And he was always better with the bow than I was.
All right. And you also know that these track marks are quite fresh.
Yeah, that's what we're here for, so I'm going to go ahead and follow these tracks for a little bit.
Yep. All of you guys stick together, I guess, in this situation.
Yes.
Definitely.
Right. So you head deeper toward... Oh, sorry, you were say something?
Corporal, do you know anything about these berries here?
In this
case...
case...
those berries?
Now, the previous berries were...
I have not had berries in far too long.
These berries are up to your knees. They are down on the ground, and they are blue. And you have to identify them yourself if you're able to. They're blueberries.
I was going to say, I think they're blueberries.
Spot on.
They're
fantastic. Do we have any sort of... Yeah, great. We'll pick some of these blueberries, I think. How much... Do we have any sort of bag?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just another day's of food. Sounds good. And then we will continue on our way.
You continue walking deeper and deeper into the forest, and it looks like a very simple forest. And the tracks are getting like more visible and fresher, and you're starting to hear something that is eating grass. You don't see it, but you estimate that it might be within the eyesight at the very least, except that there are trees blocking you, so to say.
Can I find any like small, like a plant that has petals on it, or something that is very light that I can use to test the airflow coming through the
Uh,
area to see which way the wind is going?
the best way of doing that is you lick your finger and then you angle the finger in various directions, and when you feel coldness to your finger, you know that that's where the air is coming from. It's a very simple trick.
I'm going to stay downwind from the noise and begin to cautiously stalk towards it.
And Balder and Korvold, what do you guys do meanwhile?
Well, I think if we're trying to trap this thing, definitely want to sort of stalk around where we think it may be to keep it to attempt to keep it in the same area. Sort of try to surround it in 3 points.
So yeah, I understand. This isn't something you've actually done before. It's something new, but you understand hunting techniques, and you take it really slow. And
Staying downwind, obviously.
yeah. And eventually, Korvold, you suddenly see it. You don't see your brothers anymore, but you have a somewhat understanding of where they are in your little hunting game plan. It has a kid with it, and it's looks like an older female deer that is currently eating. And unfortunately, you don't have the bow.
No, I do not. I will maintain my position and hope that they'll come closer to where I am.
Sulo, you accidentally step on a twig, and you hear that something
Damn it, Sulo.
makes a quick move towards Korvold. And you see this, of course, Korvold.
Okay.
What do you do?
Do I have a deer running toward me?
Sorry?
I said, do I have a deer running toward me?
Yeah, it's coming like towards your direction. It doesn't seem to see you because you're kind of behind a bush.
Do I have a knife on me?
Ah, yes, you have a knife. Let's see here what you guys get. You
Oh no.
have a knife and you have a wood axe. I guess that the wood axe is in the hand of Balder because he's a stronger guy, and so you have a knife.
Okay. So if the deer runs past me, I would like to attempt to jump on it and slit its throat.
That's very difficult, but you want to live up to your brothers, and you make an attempt
man.
in jumping forward and hurting it. You don't get the throat, you get the side of its big belly, and you actually crouch, and then it jumps away from you and just rip up its entire belly. And then it actually keeps on running, but there's a lot of blood dripping from that thing. Unfortunately,
That's better than nothing.
yeah, it's actually really good, you believe. Unfortunately, you fall down and you really hurt your knee. It feels really, it hurts a lot, so to say.
I'm fine.
All right. So you gather up, you see a big trail of blood, and Corval basically explains what happened. And you see where it's been running.
Okay. As the older brother, I probably have seen a few injuries in my time. Do I know how to treat this knee? Is it sprained, or is it just scratched up?
It doesn't look like anything, actually. It looks okay.
Okay.
There's a big crush mark. You basically fall down, hit the knee, becomes a little bit tiny red, and that's all you can see for now.
Okay. Can you stand? Can you walk, Corvold?
He can stand. He can walk, but he can't run. It hurts every time you're putting your knee down on the ground. The pain is like you feel something being squeezed, like together, when you step on it a bit.
I'm going to trade out or hand the bow over to Balder and take the axe real quick, and find a small sapling that has kind of a Y branch at the top,
Mhm.
and cut it, and then wrap one of the deer pelts around it to make a makeshift, like, kind of crutch for
Ah.
Corvold.
Yep, yep. I believe Balder is big enough to carry Corvold if you guys want to, but you can do that same thing. So now you can walk
Cool.
without pain.
Well, we don't really need to be running anyways, because we have a trail of blood to follow. It's not the deer's not going terribly far. We'll catch up to it pretty quick.
Yeah.
So we can walk at Corvold's pace,
Yeah.
following the trail.
It takes you about 30 minutes to actually follow this thing, and you notice that there are more and more blood coming down on the ground. Potentially, the wounds are getting worse, or it's slowed down, and eventually you see it lying on the ground. You see a belly going up and down as it's breathing, and the kid is standing there, very scared.
This is very sad. But my parents have told me to do this before, so I'm going to follow their example.
Mhm.
Let's see. How do we? How do you suppose we dispatch of the deer?
Base, like, take the knife and at, like, the base side of the neck, and, like, you'll push in and kind of twist and everything.
You can also take the axe just in the back neck.
I'll walk up. I'll use the axe since I'm used to wielding it, I suppose. And I will crack it down on the back of its neck.
While we're at it, Balder, what is your favorite weapon of choice?
My favorite weapon? I'd say probably the axe.
This is a wood cutting axe, by the way, but it's functional to kind of do what you're doing with it right now.
So
And,
I would say if I were to choose a more martial weapon, I would choose an axe. But this is all I've used so far.
Yep. And Sulo, what is your favorite weapon of choice?
Favorite weapon of choice was learning while trapping, like having a sling that I could use to get small game animals if I saw them while out setting traps.
Sling is a really good weapon. So you have the deer. The deer is dead. What do you do with the kid? The kid is running away from you when you approach it and kill the mother, but it's now standing away. It's still trying to remain where it is. It want to see its mother all the time, apparently.
I'm going to leave it alone.
I don't see. I mean,
it looks very skinny.
Oh.
It looks very skinny. I don't see why we shouldn't take its pelt for what it's worth. But because it's probably just gonna die out in the forest. It's not like it's how. Here's a question: how young is this deer? Is it like very very young, or is it? Do you think that it might?
It's probably. It was probably born this year, somewhere in the middle of spring, you believe?
Yeah. Okay. Sure. So it's probably unlikely that this deer would survive on its own. So I'm going to opt to kill it as well. But it's obviously going to scamper away if we get close to it. So I'm going to ask Sulu to shoot it with the bow.
Like, if you think this is best, then...
Yeah. It doesn't understand that you're holding a bow, and it gets its arrow in its head immediately and dies on the spot. Now, harvesting food and meat from this thing, and also cutting its pelt, that usually takes an entire day. And Corvold is already injured a little bit, and so you basically make a little bit of a camp here, and you set up a wind shelter. You start to burn the meat, and you start to do your regular work. And this is something you're very experienced with.
Cool. So about what? Oh, so it's later. Okay.
Oh yeah, it's starting to get late night, and the sun is going down, and you've basically prepared all of your stuff. You have you have one more pelt, and you've gained a lot more food. And if you didn't have a sling, you create a sling. and you pick up some rocks, I guess. So you have a sling and some rocks.
Solid.
I notice, like as we're getting ready for camp, I notice some mushrooms off in the distance a little ways. I want to bring those to Corvold's attention to find if we know what their use is.
These are edible. You can eat them. Sorry, I can't pronounce that, but you can eat these.
Okay.
Or Corvold.
Listen.
Is that what you tell your brothers?
Yes. You can eat
Meanwhile, Corvold, what is the most precious thing in your life? What is dearest to your heart? It could be anything, basically.
my knife that my dad carved me out of bone.
Is this the knife
That
that...
is representative. It is.
Yeah, this is the knife you used to
Yes.
use it, yeah.
Yes, it's the knife I use.
Yeah, nice.
It is a nice foam knife that has a leather hilt.
You go to sleep. Are you having night watches, or are you having the campfire going all night, or is there any other procedure you guys operate with?
Well, I guess to keep the wolves off the scent of the blood and whatnot, if there are any wolves to worry about, probably want to keep the campfire running and up. And I'll stay up. I'll stay up pretty late to keep the fire running. Yeah, we can have some switches in the night. So I'll stay up pretty late, and then I'll wake one of you up once I get too tired to stay awake, and then we'll rotate.
Yeah. So you eventually wake up. You sit for a while, and then you wake up. Who of your brothers? Which one of your brothers?
I'll wake up. Middle of the night. I'll wake up Corvold for the second shift.
Corvold. You wake up, and it's getting really dark, and you're still really tired. So you're sitting there, you're keeping the campfire going. How long are you remaining awake? It's starting to get a little bit brighter after a while, or...
I guess... About how long did Boulder stay up after we went to bed?
Baldur, how long were you up?
We'll say we'll try to split up the night. Around what time did the sun go down?
It went down somewhere 7 o'clock.
Okay, so I'll stay up sometime between 7 to around midnight, let's say, and then I'll wake up.
I'll do midnight to about 4.
And eventually, when the clock is turning towards 4, you're getting very tired, and the fog has actually starting to creep closer, and you have a strange tingling feeling that you can't really place from the trees. But eventually, it's time to wake up your middle brother Sulo, who is and I guess you wake him up, and Sulu, you wake up a little bit like. And Corvold just falls down and sleep immediately, quite exhausted from that fight with the deer. And when you wake up, the fog is quite thick, actually, around this place.
Okay.
Oh, except for the campfire. The campfire is preventing, is creating a little bit of a circle or a sphere for the fog.
Okay. I'm gonna say I'm keeping watch, but I set the bow aside because of limited visibility outside of the campfire, and I pull the axe up to myself and have it close at hand.
Eventually, the day is starting to, the sun is starting to climb up towards the sky, and sunlight is gazing in, and you believe you've been awake now for like 2 hours. It's 6 o'clock. And you're starting to notice that your other 2 brothers are waking up, but they are like stretching their legs and like opening their eyes and immediately closing their eyes, hoping for more sleep.
It's been traumatic, few days and everything. Want to give them at least another hour before waking then completely.
All right, so somewhere around 7 o'clock in the morning, you guys wake up.
Wake up Balder first and let Corvald sleep a little bit. Kind of like try to let the injury heal a little bit more
Yeah.
while he sleeps.
Okay. If I'm awake, I'm gonna go ahead and tell Sulu to take a sort of nap while I pack up some sort of camp and make some sort of breakfast out of the meat and berries we made.
Yeah, and you eat the mushrooms as well. So some mushrooms, some berries, and a little bit
Sure.
of a meat mixture. And when you went to sleep, Balder, you didn't see this much fog. This had come somewhere during the night, and you don't really recognize the place from how it looked like when you fall asleep.
Huh. That's weird. I'm going to. I imagine we set up camp near around where we near where we killed the deer, right? And so there
Yes.
should be a trail of blood leading off into the woods.
Yeah, there should.
Do I see that trail of blood?
You have to kind of walk for a bit because you can basically see 4 meters because of the fog. So
Oh, the fog's still really okay.
yeah, so you walk around for a bit and you don't actually find the trail of blood that should be there.
Very interesting. I'm gonna go back to the tent. And maybe I just misplaced it. I'm gonna walk in a slightly different direction. So basically, I'm gonna sort of keep on going different directions, going back to the tent each time.
You walk basically a big circle around the tent.
Yeah.
And you expand the circle after a while because you notice that you don't find the trail of blood that brought you to this position.
Huh. I'm gonna. So after we've already eaten, I guess I'll come back to the tent and. Are the other two awake right now, or?
Yeah, they're eating breakfast. They don't know.
Okay.
About this though.
Okay. I'm going to. Maybe I'm just misremembering. I suppose I'm gonna let Corvold's the well-read person. Maybe he knows more about the remembers more about the lay of the land than I do. So I'll bring it up to him once we finish eating. Do you two remember which direction we came from? Which way we need to go to get back to the trail?
This is something that suddenly strikes Corvold and Sulo when you get this question and you look around a bit. You don't really recognize this place. This doesn't look exactly how you remembered it when you went to sleep.
Uh-huh.
So the answer to that is no.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Well, I suppose there's no use sitting around here waiting for nothing. I suggest we pack up and start heading off. See if we find any sort of trails we can find and follow back to the because there were the trail split off into two. So if we go in one direction, potentially we can find one of these two trails, and that'll get us back to where we came from.
I'm gonna say, since I was awake when the sun rose, I know which direction it rose from, right?
Oh, sure.
Oh yeah. That is a correct
say,
estimation.
And then we were needing to go east to Gray Harbor, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so I'll point out which direction I'm thinking east is, and we can angle in that direction to try to find paths and to continue on the way.
Okay.
You keep walking.
So I assume we pack up the. Okay.
Yeah, you break camp and you head off towards the direction Sulo really believes should be in towards east. Basically, was that correct? You're heading east.
Yes. I'm assuming I'm heading east. Yes.
Yeah, actually, you have some idea of figuring out north, south, and east. That isn't too hard for you. Just like you said, if you triangulate the sun where it sets and rises, you can angulate north, south, and east with some correctness. And you walk for about 6 hours, and it's pure forest all the time. The only thing you've passed is a big wood lodge that's a fallen tree, a really big stony place, and after 6 hours, you're still in the forest actually.
You said we passed a wood lodge.
Yes, it was a very big fallen tree, and potentially something you could actually sleep under. So it's
Log. Okay.
yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, a wood log. It's a fallen, and it creates this little, like a perfect shelter.
Okay.
And you continue walking because obviously staying around is pointless. And after 1 more hour, you arrive at a familiar place. On the ground, you see the bones of a deer.
Did you just make us walk in a circle?
Do we see a trail of blood leading away from that deer?
Nope.
No trail of blood. Well,
Is it one set of bones or two?
Yeah. There are 2 set of bones. You killed the little one
right.
as well.
That's not good.
That's not great. And Sulo, you were paying attention to the sun. We were walking east the entire time.
Yes.
I thought so. Yes.
This is impossible. What's going on here? What do you?
It is somewhere midday, basically. The sun is in the middle of the sky. And at this point, it is a little bit harder to actually triangulate the directions, because when the sun is in the middle, it gets a trickier. You actually know where north is and south is, but east and west is a little bit trickier.
So, in my reading knowledge, I would know how to make a compass, would I not? Using a stick on the ground, using a stick in the ground.
You can't actually create a compass. You don't know how to do that, but you all know how to navigate with stars and suns.
By shadows, just by the shadow, you can figure out where exactly the sun is.
Yep. Yeah. You
Which
can make
means
a,
Close to the summer. That's going to be more difficult, however.
I thought you were making a compass and with
No,
magnets.
not an actual. No, not that. I'm just saying, like, a stick in the ground and using the shadow to be
using the shadow.
the sun to figure out what east and west is.
You don't actually need a stick in the ground because you have trees all over the place, so you can figure that one out.
That's a lot of sticks in the ground, to be fair.
Yeah, basically you can, at the moment, because the sun is in the midday, it is very hard to find east and west, but south and north you can move towards. It's very easy.
Well, east got us back to where we were.
It did.
Yeah. Do we know enough about the nearby towns to know if there's anything south or north of us?
You've been heading south towards the woodcutting place, the woodcutting village, and your family home is far north.
Okay. So
north is basically.
If we go
towards
north
home.
again. Right. If we go north, that should take us back to the wood traders' place. You mentioned a very rocky place. What's
What did
West.
I did say that you went past.
that was when we
place.
moved west.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Was there anything that we saw there when we were walking past it?
A lot of moss, and you don't think you were gonna be able to make a good shelter at that place. And not really.
Sure.
You could basically make a really good place to get a high ground and observe in an angle around that place. But in other words, in general, there was nothing there.
Honestly, probably better than nothing. We need some sort of way to navigate where we're heading. What do you two think?
I mean, that's probably our best bet right now.
Yeah, yeah. Just gaining information
Since we just went in a big
seems
circle.
valuable. Right, somehow. So do we want to go back or continue west to get to the to the stone?
Well, if we know which direction is north and south for sure, we could start moving
Hmm.
in that direction and yeah, leave markings like on the trees as we pass, just so we know if we are going in a circle.
The only way you can make marks is with the axe, like chopping
Okay.
at those. You could do that.
Well,
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
we kind of know
Well, we just
because
chop off some of the bark.
we had the deer. Oh no, I was saying that we kind of do know that we went in kind of like a circle because we came back to the deers.
Yes, yes.
Right. We came back to the deers. We probably, I assume we see some sort of a black spot where our campfire was.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, the only reason I was wondering was because there was still no blood trail to be found anywhere. So, like, if it had been moved
Right.
or if it was the same thing, but
Okay. I suggest that we go with the directions that we know then. And probably our best bet is to go north, but I do also think it might be a good idea to go try to survey the land with going to the rocky outcroppings and see if we can see anything over the forest.
Yeah, I like that idea. Going to the rocky
Okay, so we'll head. Okay, we'll head towards where we think we last saw that rocky place, and then the plan is after that to move north.
You walk basically the same path then, I guess. It sounds like, right?
Okay. Yeah, yeah. I assume we can somewhat see our own path if we see broken, stepped on grass, broken twigs to follow the same path we took the first time.
You can backtrack. You can see your old path. No, the where you came from into this place, basically.
Okay. Okay. We can follow that then. We'll do that.
All right. So you start to backtrack your own path, your own trail. You're actually quite good trackers. This is something you are really experienced with. You used to track animals for weeks, so you should definitely be able to find your trail. But after 1 hour, your trail disappears, and you're now in the middle of the forest, and you have no idea where your trail should be right now.
And still no blood anywhere to be found.
No.
No blood trail. Let's follow the trail we just made back to the campsite.
All right.
And just go north from there, because let's not get too lost from where we're at.
After you've been walking for about 1 hour, you come back to your campsite. You see the bones, you see the burning ashes and such.
I suggest we just move north from here.
Now, actually, the sun has been moving a little bit more, so now you can actually head towards east and west.
What do you guys think? So it's probably, you said it was around midday then. It's been 2 hours since then, so it's around 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
How long would it take for us to get back to the woodworkers?
It took you about 5 hours to go from woodworkers to here. But now, the next day, you've been walking around for 8 hours currently.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, so we can head north to try to find the woodworker village again.
Yeah, I think we stick with our original plan and just go north from here.
You start heading north. You also start making cuts in the trees along your way. And after a while, after 4 hours, and you're really certain that you've been heading north, you suddenly come across a place you've seen before. It's a big fallen tree that creates this little perfect shelter. And you've been here previously today.
When we headed east.
When you headed east.
Okay.
Can we investigate the fallen tree?
Yeah, absolutely. It's really big. it's very long as well. You don't see the end of it, and it's hollow, and it feels very strong and solid. It's filled with bugs, and there's a lot of moss around here. You don't see anything you could possibly eat. There's no mushrooms, even though you're quite certain that usually mushrooms grows perfectly at dead trees. The ground is also very wet.
What time is it now? You said it was been about 4 hours?
Yeah, 4. So it's somewhere around 6 o'clock in the
Okay.
evening.
And the sun set at 7 the night before.
It's starting to go down a bit.
Should we try to make camp here? Even though we found this place twice going in
That's-
2 different directions?
Like that's probably
Oh yeah,
What we ought to
Corvold, your knee feels fine now, by the way.
Okay, awesome. Fully healed.
after one day.
It was just a flesh wound.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let's probably set up shelter here, and then you said the ground is very wet.
It's not swampy. It's not swampy, but there's like small little
Okay.
ponds here and there.
Okay, is there some sort of creek or river nearby?
No, not that you can hear. You believe this is basically trapped rainwater that's been soaking up the ground.
Okay. When is the last time it's rained in this area?
You believe it rained 3 days ago.
Okay. All right. I suppose we'll set up some sort of wind protection underneath the tree. It's gonna be harder for us to set up a fire here because the ground is so wet.
Well, I mean,
I
as
would-
long
I
as
would
you, as long as
assume.
you can find dry wood, it's not like we.
Right.
Yeah, you can find dry twigs.
Yeah.
That's not a problem. Dead twig. As you can see in the
Okay.
picture right now, those things are
Yes, sir.
perfect to burn.
Like that one. And as long as we
Okay.
don't try and
Sure.
in water, then they'll just dry up the ground.
So you make a camp, and this is you actually really like this place because you make a perfect easy camp, very dry, very good from wind, and you make a bed of pine tree twigs that is very soft, so you sleep really nice on it. And you make a fire, you eat some of the last remaining of this food for this day, and eventually the sun just goes down and it becomes quite dark again.
I guess we'll do watch like we did last night.
Yeah, that seems fine. Do we want to change the order in which we did the patrol, or
Balder, you're actually quite tired because you actually were up a little bit longer compared to the other guys. I've been 2 hours.
okay? In that case, I'd like to go to sleep first.
I'll take first watch then from 7 until midnight.
So, Corwold, you're sitting there, and nothing peculiar happens. It's the forest, similar stuff. And after a while, Sulo accidentally wakes up. You can't sleep for some strange reason.
What am I hearing right now?
You're hearing what you're hearing.
Well, that's nice.
Am I also hearing this?
Yes, you're both hearing this. Balder's sleeping though.
Dead to the world.
Yeah. Do you have a fire?
Yes, we did make a fire, right? We made a fire, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I'm gonna add some more, like another log to the fire to try to get it to grow a little bit bigger and rouse Balder and let him. That's fun sound. Let him know that there's something in the woods near us.
There's something in the woods. I'm gonna grab my axe. Where am I hearing this from? Which direction?
It's you all hear it in the same direction. It's very hard to actually triangulate north, south, and east, but you hear it in a clear direction. You're all like looking at that direction. You don't see anything because it's so dark.
I'm going to grab like a bigger stick and kind of use it as a torch.
All right, I'm gonna have the bow
Alright.
and arrow.
I also hear. Do I hear? Yeah, definitely. Okay, I heard some sort of growling. Is that?
thought so,
have
too.
I encountered wolves before? Would I know if that's the growl of a wolf?
No, that was not the growl of a wolf. You did hear growl. You have never really heard this growl before. It reminds you of a wild boar's growl. The breeding reminded you of a wild boar, but you've never really heard this before.
Okay. I guess we'll just sit ready. Make sure the fire's nice and hot.
You don't
Try
hear
to
it
deter
anymore.
anything that's coming.
After sitting here for 2 hours, ready, you haven't heard a single word or a single thing from it again.
Don't like that. Well, I suppose it's my turn to be on watch. Corporals can go to sleep, I suppose.
Sulu, do you remain awake, or are you actually quite tired?
I'm gonna say I think I'll be leaning up against the fallen tree and everything with the bow in my lap, but kind of dozing.
Balder, you remain awake after sitting here for like 4 hours. Nothing really have happened. The fog has been crawling a little bit back again, as it usually does every night. And eventually, you believe it's Sulu's turn to stay awake.
Okay. I suppose I'll wake him from his nap. And I'll take his place sitting next to the tree, I suppose.
Yeah.
Dozing off.
Sulu, you wake up. You see a big fog, very similar to the one you saw last night. Other than that, nothing really happened.
Okay. I want to make sure the fire is well stoked and everything, and it doesn't have a chance of burning out while the others sleep. Am I able to see any stars in the sky at all?
No, you don't. As you can see in the picture, there are no stars. But it's good that you ask, even though you could ask things that's not in the picture anyway, even though you don't see them.
Okay.
But no, there are no stars.
Just hearing other animals is nice.
After a while, the sun starts to go up, and it's starting to become a normal day. And the fog is still here, but it's fading out a tiny bit.
All right. We'll rouse the others.
Yeah.
After the daylight has come.
You wake up, Corvold and Balder, and you see sun touching your eyes, and you see a fire very lit up by a devoted Sulu. And you notice that he's been really using the forest to burn things.
Okay.
You see
Corporal,
about
have you heard of
four.
anything like this? Like this is really strange. This sounds like something straight out of a story, out of some sort of a folk tale. Have you read anything about this? Is this anything you've heard before?
Would I have any knowledge, fictional story or otherwise, about some type of this phenomenon?
You've heard a lot of. Basically, whenever there's going something bad for people, they always say, "Oh, he was cursed by a witch. Yeah, the crops failed because of a witch." Or, "Yeah, they died at sea. They were cursed by a troll." So you have heard a lot of stories about curses and witches and evil trolls that steal children in the night. You heard a lot of those stories.
That we're cursed. That's what I
We shouldn't have killed a baby.
We could. We shouldn't have killed the baby deer. Oh no, that's what we did. That's what we did.
You excavate the place and you walk around a bit. And you walk towards where you heard the sound, and you actually see a lot of tracks. And what is really scary about these tracks is that they are actually quite big. But that isn't what's frightening you the most, because you all stare at a big stone that actually has a bite mark on it. And part of it's missing.
Part of the stone is missing.
Part of the stone is missing.
Oh, nice. Rock trolls.
Something's eating rocks. Okay. Now, when we were making camp around here, when we were looking around for firewood, we don't remember this stone being here before.
Oh yeah. This is the same. You remember this place. This is the correct spot.
No, I know, but the stone here. Do we remember the stone being here? Because we definitely should have walked around the area finding firewood.
Yes. You remember that this stone were intact and here before when you went to sleep. This is about
Okay.
200 meters from your camp, by the way.
Okay.
Can we tell which direction the tracks go?
Yes, the sun is up, and you believe the tracks are going south east.
What's that drumming? I hear some sort of drumming. Is
No,
that
is
That me. Sorry, that's me.
And the tracks continue. The tracks continue towards northwest. Balder suddenly jumps and looks at Zulu, who is stepping on a bunch of stones with big eyes, I guess.
Just don't do that. Okay.
I made a drum skin out of one of the pelts.
There you go. Just doom. All right. Okay. So, what do you guys think? I personally don't want to be in the same area as something that can take this big of a bite out of a stone. I suggest we get out of here if possible.
So, do we want to continue trying to head north and see if that leads us in that circle again?
Well, going east led us back in a circle. Turning back west took us back to the campsite. Going north led us everywhere. So I think it's safe to assume going south would do the same.
Well, we haven't gone south yet, but I don't really want to follow that.
I think it's yeah. I mean, we've left markings going south.
Yeah.
So we can go back to the camp if we need to. It might also be worth investigating. There was a very stony place. Like if we're looking at all the constants here, we walked past the tree. Maybe if we keep on walking the direction we came here from, we should see that stony place. And maybe that has something to do with the bite taken out of a stone.
We're gonna make a small pause, and
hypothesis.
And I'm gonna ask Corvold. And what is this creature? What is this? It's all right to guess, and I'm really harsh, but I'm making you try and answer.
I think that it might be some of the massive trolls that we heard rumors of, or whatever the massive creature that the villagers thought.
How
Do
big is
trolls
this?
eat rocks?
Not that you know of. They eat humans, and they eat cows and sheep, and that's what you know that they eat.
I mean, they was talking about, trolls that was the size of mountains. So, hypothetically, they could eat a rock.
Hypothetically, how big are these tracks? If we, like you said, they were really big, but how big are we talking about?
This rock is basically up to your belly.
How about the tracks? How large are the tracks around?
Oh, the tracks are more than a meter wide. Oh no, sorry. It's not really footprints. It's drag marks.
Drag marks.
Yes.
Drag marks.
It's a giant stone-eating worm.
That is the ID that is circulating inside your mind, at the very least.
I'm
a large
holding
worm.
That's nothing.
Can we track this thing? Do we want to track this thing? Can I tell which direction it was going?
No.
We do have weapons.
Oh, actually, yes. So they are drag marks. That means that you see things tilting in a certain direction. So you know the direction it's going, and it's moving north. No, it's moving northwest. Yes, it's going northwest. It came southeast and it's heading northwest.
Oh, okay.
The line isn't straight. It's like turning maybe a little bit here and there. But
Right. Sure. I suggest we go the opposite direction. I suppose we follow this trail in the opposite direction.
Go southeast.
Away from this unknown factor. Yeah, yeah. East is at least somewhat in the direction we wanting to go, anyways. So if we're following tracks, ideally we don't get confront this beast, whatever it may be.
Yeah. You continue walking in the tracks away from this beast, and after walking for about 2 hours, suddenly you can't see the tracks anymore. You see them behind your backs, but they disappear somewhere in the structure of the ground.
There's not like a hole in the ground. Is there?
No.
No. It just basically just like tracks.
No burrow.
Imagine the tracks suddenly starting and moving.
Okay.
Like something has dropped it from the sky and it began moving in that direction. That is how it looks like currently.
Of course.
Nice.
Uh-huh. Are there any climbable trees?
Yes, a lot.
I'd like to climb a tree and see if I can get any sort of vantage point.
You climb up, and the sky is very cloudy, so you get a very gray picture, and you look in all directions. In every direction, the only thing you see are pine trees.
This checks out. And you said we followed this.
2 hours.
There's nothing that stands out. There's nothing. 2 hours. Okay.
Yeah, you see a little bit rocky structure in one direction. Like you see how the trees are climbing upwards, it's building. Height.
It's going up a mountain.
Not really a mountain, but something of the sort. Big hill. Yeah, big hill.
All right.
What do you see up there?
I see the rocks. That rocky place we saw earlier.
Oh no, this is not the rocky place you saw earlier.
It's not the same rocky place.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is basically just make a hill structure, you believe, of like pine trees going upwards towards the sky.
So we can see a sort of hill.
Let's move there because then we'd have a higher vantage point to see
I
top
agree.
of things.
Yeah.
You continue walking for about another hour, and your grounds are starting to move a little bit upwards, but suddenly you see an opening. You see something that looks like a cave entrance in front of your eyes, so to say. The cave entrance is actually quite high. You believe you wouldn't be able to jump and touch the ceiling.
Do we see
Now,
any
do I see any sort of
drag marks?
tracks?
No tracks.
No drag marks. Okay. Well, this is a new landmark. Around what time of day is it?
It's still quite early in the morning. I believe it's like 9 o'clock.
Give or take. Well, if that thing is active at night, if we're to assume that, as long as we're in and out before it gets dark.
By the way, when you did look up, you remained at the position where you saw the drag marks, and you were heading away from the drag marks towards this place. By the way.
Okay. Okay. If we're to assume the worst, and this is the layer of whatever we heard before, the thing seems to be active at night, so I think we should be safe in investigating from now, as long as we're out of here by nightfall. Does that sound accurate to you guys, or what do you guys want to do about any of this? Do you have any ideas?
That sounds reasonable.
This is better than a sea of pine trees that we've been currently walking in for like ever.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to enter the cave.
All right, you step inwards, and it's actually a quite large cave, and you can still see the sun because it's very early in the morning. The sun is basically going in towards the cave, so it illuminates the cave quite well. So you see a lot of very interesting walls, and it's a lot of moss in here, and actually a lot of growing stuff in here because of the sun is creating some. The sun is making it possible for plants to grow here. Yeah, sorry. And the cave continues inward, but in that regard, it's getting darker because it's making something of a turn.
I want to make a torch.
You make a torch.
We have light.
You continue inward the cave, and you see a lot of it. Suddenly, the walls look made. Suddenly, you see that something actually structured and hacked on the wall, and becomes more of a square path, and a lot smaller. So now it feels like some form of tunnel.
Okay.
Those look like letters. Can you read them, Corvold?
You make out this.
So I know what language that is.
No, you guys have no idea what this text says. But you touch all the letters and just follow the letters on the wall, and this text is coming out for you.
Do we have something where I can write this down?
Yes.
I'd like to write it down, just in case, for future reference.
Yep.
Just in case we can figure out what a translation.
Yeah. You have a strange text added to your inventory, but you have no idea what this is saying, and I guess it's hard for you to pronounce it as well. You continue down this little cave, and you're starting to see a lot of very strange things coming up, like very very strange stones in like a corridor coming up like big teeths, and creating this new pathway forward.
This doesn't seem like the lair of any beast. Seems at least somewhat civilized.
Yeah, it's very, very nice.
In some form.
Suddenly, you hear something snoring further down the cave, and it's a very loud.
Well,
I would like to quietly and carefully continue down the cave.
Mm-hmm. As you move a little bit forward, you suddenly see a very big, large humanoid that is very, very large, and your eyes goes a little bit wide on how large it actually is, sleeping on a lot of pelts. It has a big club next to it, and that club is basically the same size as your little brother.
Thanks.
Okay. Yeah.
You also see a lot of
Do I see anything?
tree. You see a lot of tree branches, a lot of mushrooms, and a lot of twigs, and it has a cauldron and a fireplace in here. The cauldron is also big enough for you to sit in it.
I prefer
That
not
seems-
at the moment.
On purpose. It's as big as my younger brother.
Now the
You
club.
said I could lift my younger brother. That's
The
what I'm saying. The club is.
Yeah, I don't think you could actually lift this.
Considering the biggest thing does not mean it's heavy.
You could lift it, but you're not gonna swing it.
No, I'm aware. We could leave this guy weaponless if we took away his club, but that would rely on us being able to take it away quietly. Do I hear some sort of water flow right now?
Yes, you do. The cave continues, by the
Which
way.
direction?
The cave continues behind this creature.
Is there any way to walk around him?
Yeah, you could sneak. It's a very large cave. You believe you could sneak past this thing.
Here's a question. Is the club about the same size as the drag marks that we saw before?
No, The drag marks were
No.
a lot bigger.
So it wasn't some sort of troll or whatever this thing is. I assume it's a troll.
Yeah,
dragging a club behind it. Based on what I know so far, I think I would imagine this to be a troll.
It has legs and arms, and it has a lot of fur, and it also has a tail. So this looks like a troll.
So try and sneak past and continue down the cave.
I imagine so. I mean, if he's asleep right now, then I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get out of the forest where we don't know anything about. This at least is constant, despite it being dangerous.
We haven't ended up back at the deers yet, so that's a plus.
Yeah, well, that's fair. That's fair.
Balder first with the axe. I'll stay with the bow with Corvold, then Corvold go, or vice versa. Or should I go first with the bow and then
seems fine.
From?
Is there any other light source besides my torch?
No, not in here.
Okay, so whoever goes first needs to take the torch.
You've been standing here for 30 minutes, thinking, by the way, now.
30 minutes, that's a long
Yes.
time. Okay.
It's not going to sleep forever.
Okay, yeah, I suggest we move swiftly but carefully. That's the Sulo's suggestion is fine by me. Take the torch first, and then we'll use the light from behind as well as the light from the entrance to guide us.
So do you walk all three of you simultaneously, or?
No,
we're gonna go one at a
one at a time.
First, then me, then Sulu.
Okay, so Balder, you go first.
Yeah.
All right. So you sneak past it a little bit slow and steady, and it doesn't seem to actually wake up, or it seems to remain the same very deep slumber. And eventually you get past, and you can see further down in the cave.
What do I see further down?
You see something very big. You kind of have to go a little bit forward to see it.
I'm gonna wait for my two brothers first.
So who's next?
That'd be me.
All right.
Everyone knows.
You hug the walls and you move slowly and steady. But suddenly, a little rock falls down from the wall that you accidentally touched, and you freezes in position, and you hear a big. What do you do?
I stop moving and hold my breath.
Okay.
Try not to move or make any sound until I kind of hear him possibly go back to another sleep rhythm.
It remains sleeping. You stand there for like 30 seconds, like holding your breath, and the other guys are like, the axe is very tight, the bow is supercharged, I guess, but it still sleeps actually.
I continue very carefully.
Yeah, you get to the other side, and Sulo, you are now the only one in this.
I am going to ever so cautiously make my way and try to ensure not to brush the wall or anything else that might be loose in my path.
You continue forward, and quite agile. You get you get to the other side where your two brothers are at.
Okay. Now that we're all here, I'd like to advance forward into the cave and see what I see.
You see this.
Whoa.
Ooh, okay.
That
I
is a
I
really
like the
good
little
skull.
tiny skulls next to the giant big skull.
And you suddenly
Are
realize,
those human skulls?
yes, they are human skulls.
Uh-huh.
And you suddenly realized that the big teeth that were coming up in the previous room were a rib cage.
Oh, what? Uh-huh.
So,
Wow.
wait, so we come out of this thing's mouth.
No, actually, you didn't come out of this mouth. You come straight towards the side of its face,
Okay,
like
so-
this.
Okay. So we basically went through the rib cage sideways.
Yeah, you don't actually understand the rib cage and the head seems to be a bit away from each other, so to say.
How
Okay.
big is it in comparison to us?
You have a human skull down on the ground there. In the picture.
Like, are they? Can we tell if they're adult skulls or?
They have the same size as your skulls, except one thing is a little bit strange with them. Their noses are bigger. Or, not the nose, but the nose hole would be this size compared to your guys, the normal.
Okay.
And their
Very
eyes are, there's one more thing, the eyes are a little bit more apart compared to, if you take the skull and you compare to your own eyes, and these eyes, they are,
Okay.
but you're quite
is there
certain
any
they are
way-
human skulls.
Do I still hear the water?
Yes, you hear the water, and it's basically raining water that disappears somewhere beneath a few cracks. And suddenly, to your sadness, this is a dead end.
Well, I think we figured.
I'd like to
possibly
walk
figured
up to the giant skull.
Mhm.
I'm gonna sort of grab a tooth, see if it's loose at all.
Yeah, you can grab a tooth.
I'd like to grab a tooth and put it in a bag.
Yes,
It'll be a souvenir.
you have a tooth in the bag.
Awesome. This is a big tooth, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this. You could make a dagger or a small knife out of it.
yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. I kind of want to try to do that sometime. But
It's not that sharp, actually.
sure. I would have to sharpen it, obviously. Okay.
So is this thing wide enough to make those drag marks?
Yes. Actually, this is too big.
Okay.
Yeah, this is way huge.
when you
yeah.
fantasize how big this is, and you compare to you were able to walk through its rib cage, and the rib cage was very wide. This would make huge drag marks.
Right.
So this is not the
Right.
same creature as you saw previously.
I mean,
Okay.
it could be an older version of it.
All right. So we have a dead end. We have a troll. He seems to like deer pelts. Are they deer pelts in particular, or are they a lot of different types of animal pelts that he's laying on?
You recognized wolf, bear, and deer, and pig,
Okay.
and
Pigs really have pelts?
human
Oh.
Human pelts.
or skin, human
no.
skin.
All right. Sure.
You walk backwards as this is a kind of dead end, and you found this little big skull and a tooth, and the troll is still lying there, but you don't hear snoring.
Okay. I'd like to turn around and observe the troll. What's he up to? Is he?
It's not
Do I
moving.
see his face? Is it?
No, it's got its back to you, and you don't see it's moving. It's completely still.
Well, I'm kind of in a bit of trouble, I'd say. He's not snoring anymore?
Nope.
Well then, I would like to try to sneak back around the troll.
Yes.
Who has the pelts, by the way? Who's holding the pelts?
You have one each, I believe.
Okay.
We have 4
All right.
pelts,
Yeah. So
somebody has
Balder,
2.
you have 2, and the other guys you have 1, I guess.
Okay, sure. I will whisper to the two of you. Seems he really likes pelts. If he ends up waking up, maybe we can get out of here by giving him some pelts and some meat, and we can. He obviously understands language, so hopefully we can get away by talking with him, rather than obviously getting eaten.
I mean, he might not
so-
understand language. We don't know yet. we
We don't know yet. We don't know yet.
But
But he's in a cave with writing on the wall. I am willing to bet he knows that he at least knows how to talk and potentially understands language. But if that doesn't end up working, then we're gonna have to be prepared for the worst. And then I suggest we move out of the cave as all 3 at once this time, though, because I want to be all together rather than separated, where he can pick off one of us.
You start moving as a group very slowly, and then suddenly you realized that when this creature is no longer snoring, it is very hard to be very quiet on this ground. And you hear a
I mean, I don't see what other option we have that other than to continue moving. Hope he's oblivious.
As you continue walking, suddenly the very large creature turns its head, rolls over, and with clear, wicked eyes looks straight at you and shouts out very large, "Talk! Talk! Yashat, talk!" Solo.
I would like to pull out a pelt.
Solo.
Sure, you can
first.
do it.
What do you think this creature says when it does this? Talk! Yashat! What is your first idea if it's communication?
What did it say one more time?
Tosh! Yashat! And that's all you need to all you have to think. That took too long. Balder, what did you do?
Does he look angry?
That's your face.
That's my face or his
No,
face?
That's his face.
Okay.
That was scared.
I'd like to pull out the one of my pelts, and I'd like to lay it out on the ground and then take a step back from it. I'd like to know the step back I take is going to be towards the exit.
Meanwhile, Korvold, what is your impression that this creature is trying to say with Tark Yashkat like this?
I feel like he's scared of something.
Alright.
Just from the face.
Yeah.
Just from the face, I feel like he's scared. Might be scared.
It doesn't seem to actually react onto you guys that much. It's very like, and it doesn't reach for its club.
Can
That's a
you
good thing.
raise the torch up, like, in the air towards it a little bit?
Very good. It backs when he does. And it even covers
like
like
light.
this.
The light or fire?
And you hear a very,
Okay.
very loud, that even echoes, Yashat!
It does fire or light.
I would start moving towards the exit with the torch between us and the troll.
It doesn't seem to follow you. And as you're proceeding back more and more, it seems to do this towards you guys a lot.
Okay, I want to, like, as we're exiting, I want to follow Balder's lead and take one of the pelts and make sure it sees it and then just kind of toss it towards it onto the ground and then exit the cave.
So we've lost 2 pelts so far. We've set down 2 pelts at least.
Okay.
So
But just-
I'm kind of interested to see if it knows any other languages. Like, it's probably unlikely, obviously.
You haven't said a word, by the way, you guys, so far. You've only
That's what I'm thinking, right? So I'm gonna tell Sulo to move the torch behind him, so it's not in the ogre's direct light of sight, right? Just sort of hold it behind your head or something. And I audibly ask the ogre, "Can you help us?"
You suddenly see that it makes a reaction. It noticed that you made a sound, but it doesn't seem to understand you. It looks
That's understandable.
it looks confused. Also, this thing
Okay.
is like 2.5 meter tall.
Like 2.5 meters. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just a little, just
So that's almost 7
it's a bit
feet.
taller than a human is.
That's
Sorry.
like basketball player.
Yeah.
At 2 meters, 2.5 meters
Um,
it's huge.
Yeah, it's like 7. Let's see.
Yeah, it's 8 feet tall.
Oh, sorry guys. Yeah, it's if you put Zulu on top of Balder's, if you put Zulu on Balder's shoulders, you have the same length.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Man, if we had some way to I don't know. I think he's just gonna let us leave, to be honest.
It picks up a
Um,
stone
and throws it at you. However, you clearly notice that it didn't touch you at all. It was quite far away from you that he tossed it.
So he's probably just shooing us off. Okay, yeah. I guess I'll just continue out the cave. He doesn't understand us, so
And you
that
reach.
seems fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
You notice that
Um,
it's observing you still at the edge. It's been following you like a little bit, but it's keeping its distance. And it's just. But now when it's starting to reach the sunlight, it goes very back towards the darker place of the cave.
Okay. Oh, it stood up and followed us.
It followed you a little bit, but once you're starting to reach the sun areas where the sun is touching the cave, it goes back.
Okay. Neat. So they don't like fire. Trolls do not like fire. That's very good to know.
Or light, since it
what are
ran away
these
from the
little-
sun, too.
Yeah, that exactly. I do see some little things scattered around here. Are these mushrooms we're seeing in the cave?
You look closer, and you see copper coins.
Copper coins. I'd like to pick up the copper coins.
You pick up a lot of copper coins. You find something about. You find a bunch of copper coins.
And does he doesn't see us at the point where we're picking up these coins, does he?
It doesn't seem to mind, actually. It sees it. It
okay.
noticed that it does, but it doesn't seem to mind.
Okay. Cool. All right. I guess we'll go out of the cave then.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
very interesting.
You exit the cave, and you haven't been in here long. You've been in here for about 1 hour, basically. And it's still quite
Sure.
early in the morning. It's like 10 o'clock. And you get out where you previously left. And it's the same horrible forest you've seen for a while.
Okay. This hill goes higher, right?
Yes.
Above the cave.
Yes, it continues
Okay.
upwards.
Let's make our way up.
Let's continue upwards. Let's make our way up. Yeah, definitely.
It's very tiring to walk upwards, but you're getting there step by step, and after a while you see something hanging in a tree branch. It's a tiny little doll, and it looks really, really old.
Huh. Is it hanging low enough for us to grab it, or do we have to climb the tree up to get it?
You can grab it.
Okay. I'll go ahead and grab it. I'd like to take a close look at it.
It's made of some strange material, and basically filled with dirt to make its structure inside. And it was hanging like a rope on a neck.
It was hanging by its neck.
Yes.
Oh my,
Noose.
that's a little dark.
I think the term you're looking for is noose.
Yeah. Yes, the noose. It had a noose.
Oh, that's not dark or anything.
It's
You
fine.
can
Well,
You
yeah,
could-
we definitely take it down.
Yeah. You continue forward, and
Is it a nice rope that it's hanging from?
it's a very old. It's when you like touch it, it's almost how do you say, crispy as you bend the rope. It's been hanging there
It's
for
crumbling.
yeah.
Yeah.
The rope's no good.
The rope's no good. You continue forward, and as you're continuing upwards, the crow's songs goes out a tiny bit, and suddenly you see something hanging in a tree that isn't a doll, it's a human skeleton, also with a noose.
Does it look like a kid or an adult?
This looks like an adult.
As far as the size. Does it have the same skull as the ones we saw in the cave?
That is a
Like,
very
we noticed that it looks
yeah. That is a very good question. The answer is yes.
but as far as the size of the skeleton, it's the same size as as a
yeah,
human
yeah.
we would know.
It's the same size as you, basically, but the structure of the
Okay.
skull is a bit different.
Okay.
Can we take it down
Yes, you can.
and then
So if
kind of lay it to
yeah.
rest, like kind of make a cairn for it, or like bury it?
You can bury it. It takes you about 15 minutes. The ground is, as I said before, very wet, very easy to dig, and doesn't take you long to bury it. You continue forward, and suddenly you see something in the trees that is looking a little bit strange. You're not really in unions about what is what, but you're starting to see something that is resembling a face. And if you're using your fantasy, you believe you can see eyes and a nose in a tree.
In like a tree trunk, or like
Yeah.
in the branches.
On the tree trunk.
Okay.
Does it look like it was like carved, or does it look like it formed like naturally?
Naturally.
Okay.
And you're starting to notice that a lot of trees are actually starting to grow in a very abnormal way.
Do you still have that torch? You should probably put that out. We don't need it anymore.
Probably put it out, but I would assume that I'd probably still carry the stick.
Oh yeah.
Definitely. Sure.
So if we need to relight it, we can.
Sure.
You continue making your way forward up the hill, and suddenly you, Corvold, you have to make a little bit of a climb over a stone, and then you jump down and land next to a tree on the other side, and you see this.
Come on. And am I hearing a heartbeat?
I was gonna say, does it sound like it's coming from the
You,
tree man?
it's hard to say. You as you move closer, you don't hear the sound louder,
Okay.
and it doesn't seem like it's coming from the tree man. It's something in the surrounding you.
Okay.
And in the knee of this thing, you see a bag, like a shoulder bag you have across your one shoulder to the other side.
I would like to investigate the bag.
The bag is extremely well made, and when you look at it, you have never seen a craftsmanship this well. It has beautiful ornamentations. Someone has actually put stones in the bag, on the bag, to make it look even more decorated.
Like gemstones?
No, normal stones. Not
Just
gemstones.
pretty.
Yeah, just
Just
pretty
pretty
stones.
stones.
Yeah, just pretty stones.
Okay. Is there anything inside of the bag?
You open the bag, and you find this book.
Oh.
But most like my sunshine.
Sorry?
I take the book and I open the book.
Yes.
Since I can read.
This is the third page. I guess that you're reading it for your other friends.
Yes. I do read it out loud.
This is what I remember from my meditation.
So it's an endless forest to the east?
By the way, Corvold,
you have never seen such a beautiful book before. Like, you didn't even think making paper and corners like this would be possible.
Yeah, let's turn the page.
Is this too small for you guys?
No, I see it fine. Have us two caught up to where Coldwood is?
Oh yeah, you're standing next to this very big
Yeah,
structure.
I'm reading this out loud.
Does this?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a structure. Is this guy? Is this a corpse or is this made of wood as well?
It's made of wood.
Interesting. So we have some information about the forest, some mentions of dead soldiers. Talking about
I'm
skulls.
wondering if that's the skulls we found. Are the soldiers they're referring to?
Maybe. I mean, they are. Maybe. And something about sources of power.
I'm not gonna force you to read the entire book, but if you want to flip pages, you can do so. We can basically just shortcut and showcase.
Okay.
Like you skim through the book quite rapidly. Or maybe this one. I'm just jumping a little bit here for you guys. Yeah, you can ask questions about it if you wanna go back, such as. But then suddenly you reach a point where it does this.
Ooh.
What were the words on the wall?
Give me a second.
I would
The
like
words
to
on the
get out.
wall were
I would like to get out.
Polgaruza, Gajalti, Ag Pablug.
Oh, did you write it down?
I did write it
I
down.
did.
Oh,
Okay,
wait.
then
Did Balder actually write it down?
you all wrote it down. I'm asking if you wrote it down in reality.
I did not
Yeah, I
write it
did.
down.
Okay, then we can jump back here and you have the. Well, let's actually make it.
So
easier.
if
Here's
it's
the text.
alphabetical, so Ag is and, so we've got one word. If this is all alphabetical, we can go to the P's.
It is alphabetical.
And
yes.
we can flavor this as if Corvold is doing all this, and I just actually have the papers.
Yes.
Forest. Well,
Pulgaruza. So
Well,
yeah,
forest is forest.
if we go to the G's, Gajalti. Oh, he's got it up on the top there. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
living.
Yeah.
You want to jump to P, right?
Well, what was Jigalti though?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I will jump.
Living.
Living.
Forest, living, and back to the P's, I guess.
Okay, there isn't one for blah blah.
There is not an entry for Pablag. There is one for Presog, which is a similar word. It says decay. We could probably potentially say that Pablag might mean dead. It's both living and dead. if we're to sort of follow the trend
sorry,
here of animated soldiers and
You
whatnot.
also have this. My bad.
Ah.
POW by itself is drink. Is there a section for the bees or not?
Yes. And
We have to go to the next page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blood.
Drink blood.
Oh. Okay.
So go back to pull the P's again. I have to check something.
This is one of the pages. And
Pulgaruz. So we don't have. It's just Pulgaruz, not with the ZA. Is there something in the Z's that we need? Because Pulgaruza.
The ZA might be a plural. So it's instead of forest,
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
hypothetically.
What was the Gajalti again?
Living. Forest
Yes.
living. So all we've got so far is forest. If we're assuming the ZA is some sort of plurality, we have forest living and drink blood for what we saw in the cave. And or it could mean some sort of nativity sort of deal, like you call someone from Germany a German, right? And so for the Polgaruza, it could be someone of the forest.
while you are sitting here inside your minds, Solu, what is happening to you?
What is happening to me?
Yeah? It's not actually happening. You're not under attack or anything. You're not wines or anything. There's nothing happening physically to you. But what is going on?
I would feel my mind start to wander.
Yeah.
And kind of lose focus on where I am.
It's nothing. Yeah, I'm not asking you to describe something that is going to happen to you. I'm just asking out of the blue, what is going on here?
What is going on here?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? What is your hypothesis? I think he's asking.
Yes.
Forced living blood. I think it's.
It could also
talking
the
about
living
like
could be a descriptor
sacrifice.
for forest.
Yeah, like, or you bring the forest might need to drink blood, like the living forest might need blood.
Maybe that might be why we're here in the first place. The trail of blood from the deers. The deer's blood being spilled on the forest or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Or we killed. Oh.
Is there anything special as your scam? You basically translated the text that you have previously. Is there anything more inside the book you would like to look at?
I think. This is a lot to read through.
About the speech of. Okay, so this is the language. So it looks like this is the language that the troll was speaking.
Right. Or. What were the words that? What were the words that we heard the troll speak? Maybe.
Is there the V's? Like, didn't it start with a V?
Because if we can remember what he said, that can solidify. Well, I mean, to be fair. Oh yeah, no, it says so right there. Black speaks of the trolls and the old ones. The chanting should be done in this time. I think I will make a dictionary at the end. So that's confirmed. Yeah.
That's what I was saying.
All the words at the end are the all the old ones speak. So yeah. Okay. It's called Black Speech. Okay. So we need to sort of have some sort. So there's a lot of stuff that we simply can't see. So there's instructions on how to construct a sort of spell to see all the hidden things in the forest. I assume
Oh,
with some sort of chanting of the old tongue.
he said that he needs to experiment with my brothers for the 100 stones.
You also notice that there's a missing page in the book.
Ah,
Of course there would be. Fade-shaped trees.
I kind of want to translate that too.
yeah, definitely. Rouse.
I would also like to mention that you don't need the entire book to actually solve the adventure. This is a big tool to help you out if you wanna.
Okay.
Okay. If we can go back to the dictionary, if we can go to the R's. So the Rouse.
Rao by itself is new.
And Rausug is born. So it's something around the something new, something maybe plural new. So new something. Now let's go to the D's for Drautishi. It's spelled D-R-A-U-T. Probably need the next page.
Yeah.
Drought
Drought by
is light.
itself is
Droutran. So new light. Let's go to the B's before we go to Ishi because the next word also has Ishi in it.
Did you say
So
B?
and then it's B as in bus. And then Burzumishi.
Bruising darkness.
Okay, so new light, new dark.
And the what eyes?
We can go to the eyes, I guess. Oh, actually, while we're here, there's also another word down here. Blogulacher?
Blood.
Something like that.
Blog by itself is blood.
Okay, so okay, let's go to the eyes then.
In or inside?
So inside. So I assume that could be a new inner light, new inner dark. Is my guess on that.
Okay.
So it's new light on the inside, new dark on the inside. WildHjart is the name of the forest. Let's go to the U's.
Is this one? Maybe. No. Here.
And we're looking for the UKL stuff.
Always?
you kill,
Is that
and then
always?
you are always 4. So Yukilur is always 4. Or it could also just mean forever. For always. So far we have new inner light, new inner dark, wild heart, always 4, blood, always 4. No, hold on. And the blog is different here. So blood always, and then later. We need the L's.
You want to jump to L?
Yeah.
For you?
Latour is okay. Always for you. And then we need to go to the P's. Pauguri with an accent on the I. So may need to go back one more page. It's P-A-U.
Drink? I think just PAU by itself is drink.
What was it?
Up at the very top.
Oh, I guess it was.
I think it's just drink.
Oh, you're right. So if we go Pau and then go, there's 2 U's in this Pauguri. So it's P-A-U-U-G-G-U-R-I with an accent on the I.
So back to the U's.
I suppose so. U-G-G-U-R-I. I guess there's no word for UG. Weird.
There's URs for. What is the R or I by itself?
No, it's all one word. But that seems to be common for a lot of these things. So far we have roughly new inner light, new inner dark, wild heart, always for blood, always for your drink, something weird like that.
I realized that I haven't put in the UG correctly there. As you can see, it's missing. It's
Okay.
another way of saying blood.
Okay.
So there should be blood on the UG. UG.
So drink blood for.
So
Can you go to the eyes? I was just curious if there was a singular eye at all. Okay.
yeah. Okay. That's interesting. I don't think that's going to get us anywhere right now, though. We can come back to that later.
No. Yeah.
But something about the forest drinking your blood.
Yep. You're quite. Yep. You've been standing here for a while, and suddenly, for the first time, as you've been sitting around and translating things, Sulo, you see something on the ground. It actually looks like a trail.
All right. Is it anything that we can identify?
No, it just looks like a common trail on a pathway on the ground, like people have walked
Okay.
there.
I'm gonna point it out to my brothers.
Baldur and Korvold, you actually don't see this trail that he's pointing at. It's just ground and bushes and moss.
Very cool.
I think he's going crazy.
Fucking Sula over here. Ate too many of those berries. It's
I warned him about the berries. He didn't listen.
he didn't listen. He ate some of those darn berries. Okay. Now,
Sulo, you
Sulo,
see this one clear as day.
I was gonna say I feel the urge to go down the trail. Like I'm insistent that there is a trail here that we need to follow.
Okay, we'll go down your imaginary trail to make you feel better.
Well, we'll humor you. I mean, it's not like we're going anywhere. If this, I'm telling you, if this leads back to the deer, like we're not following any more trails from you.
We'll like go around
All
a
right,
corner. There's
we'll
the
follow,
deer,
we'll
and it's
follow
like
them.
This trail
yeah.
doesn't go up or down. It goes alongside the same level of the hill. And as you're starting to walk, it suddenly starts to rain a bit. You've been walking for about 2 hours, and you're getting soaked wet. Sulo, you are following a straight trail. Nothing is like it's clear as day. You can see it. Balder and Korvold, you're walking in a strange direction. You have no idea, but he's following something correctly. Like he is following something.
Those berries.
I'd like to pull out a knife as we're walking, and I'd like to be sort of carving at the tooth, making it into sort of a dagger-ish shape.
Yeah.
Maybe a short sword. How big is this thing? Is that big enough for a short sword? For a sword?
No, not for a sword, but a good dagger. You can make a dagger of it.
Okay.
A tooth dagger.
Very cool. All right, we'll slowly be carving that as we're walking. I might not finish it right now, but that's what we're working on.
Yeah.
So like, the start of the tooth is like this. Like, how big
Well,
is
the
it?
teeth. When I saw it in the picture, like they were like pretty darn big teeth. Like it'll.
Yeah, but you didn't get that out.
The size of your skull almost.
You got something that was like
I
this.
got a small one. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'll make a blade and then I'll fasten another handle to the blade.
Yeah. Sulo, suddenly the trail stops. But the trail doesn't stop in like a disappear. It stops naturally how a trail should stop. It kind of spreads out in a way, like it becomes a bigger thing. And then suddenly you can't really see where it's kind of going anywhere.
Do we see these ruins right now?
You do see these ruins right now.
Honestly, I want to go to investigate them.
Does everybody see the ruins?
You see like buildings of some sort, and it keeps on raining. It's like ruins, some very strange stones here and there.
Does anybody else see the words on the wall?
I see the words.
We are
We
the.
are.
You go closer.
Ooh.
We are the.
We are the.
Coven. something
He sacrificed
forest,
to
something.
surrender what is most precious to you. Do we see anything like an altar anywhere?
No.
Like,
Um, is the missing bricks on the ground that has like fallen on the ground? So they're just not there.
They're not
Just
there.
gone.
Yeah. But that was a good question.
Okay.
I'm gonna say after reading it, like I pull out the little figurine my father had carved for me, and I'm kind of like toying with it, looking at it in my hands.
Why is this
Also sort of-
figurine so important to you, Shalu?
It was important because it was a skill my dad took the time to teach us, or teach me in particular, on how to carve things, and it's full of fond memories of our father.
So basically, whenever you see this thing, you remember all the good stuff. And
Yes.
I mean, you've lost your father. He's no longer with you, kinda.
Yes, like this would be the last tangible thing I have from them besides what was at our house. Like this is the thing that would be most important to me from him.
I have a question for Corvold. Why were Sulo? Was the trail imaginary, or do you think he hallucinated this thing, or why do you think he saw it?
I think that I don't know.
No, all right, no, you don't have to
Yeah,
know.
I have no clue. He obviously saw something, and I don't know if it's a coincidence that we ended up here or if he actually saw a trail. I'm just glad we didn't end up back at the.
I imagine he saw something. Like he definitely brought us somewhere. We are not back at the deer.
Nope. As you're looking around at this place, you suddenly see a lot more dolls hanging a little bit everywhere. It's the same. They made the same way.
Same type of doll.
Same type of doll. Yeah. Also with a noose.
We are the coven. Yeah, covens are witches. Do I see any bricks along the ground underneath this wall that might have more of the message that we're missing?
Corvold asked this same question, and the answer is no.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
I would like to investigate around the area to see if there's like something else, other words somewhere on a wall or something.
You continue invest. You can come back here later. You continue investigating around. It seems to be something of a village. There are houses. Most of them are very overgrown. There's nothing really here. Inside the house, you see a lot of dead bodies everywhere. But in general, it's basically ruins of something of a village. If you calculate the amount of potential houses, you get something about maybe 10. And if you estimate that it would have potentially been 4 people in every house, you have a 40 village, tiny village. 40 people, tiny village, kinda. Maybe.
Okay. How old are these bones? Again, since we've dealt with
Does any one of you guys have
So-
any knowledge about construction? I don't think you do.
I don't think we would, yeah.
No.
you haven't really built houses.
Not this type of construction.
But you do look at the bones. These bones these skulls look like the same as your skulls. They resemble the same eye and the same nose sides. So they look more, and they don't look as old, so to say. Like you can have a really old bone and you can have a less old bone, so to say.
Okay. Is the sky getting red?
Yes.
Or is that just... Oh,
You suddenly realize that things have gotten a lot darker, and it's getting a very crumbing feeling in this place. Corvold, you're getting a very strange tingling feeling. You had it once before, after you slaughtered a deer, and when you sat there and you woke up, and that tingling feeling is starting to like touch you again, and for some reason you feel observed. Like something is really looking at you right now.
I kind of look around to see if I can see anything. Like you would, like, if you was actually felt like you was being watched.
Nope. They don't really see anything but trees. Dolls in trees.
I'd kind of like to look at the dolls.
Mhm.
Are the dolls... is there anything similar about all of the dolls other than the way they're looking? Are they how do I say, like in the way that they would have been put up? Are they all put up
Yeah.
the exact same way?
They all are put up the same way, like hanging with something in their neck, so to say.
But they're not facing any certain direction, are they?
No.
It's just all random. Okay. Do you guys notice it getting darker? I ask in character.
You've all noticed that it's getting darker. And the trees are still shaped like very strangely.
They still have the face shapes?
Yes, they still have face shapes.
Okay.
As you're
Well, I imagine...
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
As you're walking around
Would
here
there
a little...
be any benefit of maybe speaking in any of the languages in the book? Like we'd have to open it and translate that. It might take a little while. I don't know what we would try to say. I don't know. Was there anything in the book that talked about what one should say to the trees?
Can jump through here a little bit quickly. Oh, this is different. This is the text you saw earlier.
Right.
Is this a page you want to stay at, or you want to keep? Looks like you're reading.
A little bit, but we can keep on going. Yeah, you can skip. Specifically looking for the forest is making it rain. So this guy was trying to use fire magic to keep it. I assume the trolls away.
No, it actually said in the book that he was gonna try to kill the forest.
Right, right.
Sorry,
but the
I skipped
forest is it? No, I saw. He wanted to kill the forest with fire, obviously, but the forest itself is a deity apparently. All right. But I'm specifically looking for the stuff with the trees, the ents or whatever you want to call them. Because there were illustrations of them.
Oh, the picture of a tree. Let me... This is the last page, and then you get to the dictionary. This is a good illustration of how the trees you kind of look like. Sometimes you imagine that they have a big nose and a mouth, and like...
That was a noise. Probably ought to
That was not from
figure
me.
out what that was.
I think it was a car going outside the building from you guys.
Very cool. All right.
Alright, it says that the trees face toward the center of the source of power.
Korvold. You still have that feeling of being observed. What do you think is observing you?
I think that the trees might be observing me.
Alright, alright.
We
Do you
see the
wanna-
faces in the
Wonder.
Yeah. Did you want to read more in the book, or do you want to walk around a little bit more around the camp?
I think we ought to walk around a little bit more, figure out what's going on around here.
Alright. Oh. Ah! There we go. You walk around for a little bit. After being here for like 30 minutes, not really finding anything. Korvold and Saul, suddenly you guys see a trail on the ground. A new one. This isn't the one that you saw before, Saul. Saul, you still see the old trail from before.
Okay.
Balder, you don't see this trail at all. It's not there. They are imagining things, basically.
Yeah.
Hey, I see a trail.
Does it resemble the one I saw before or not?
No, it's different. It's much smaller.
Okay.
Okay.
I think we need to move on and follow the trail.
Yep.
Well, the trail got somewhere before. I'll follow whatever you guys are talking about. Worked out with it for us before. We'll do it. Try it again.
You keep walking for a while, and it's starting to get a little bit dark. It's not that dark yet, but you know the sun is about to head towards the downside, and this trail takes you like a little bit downwards, so to say, downhill, and then suddenly you see that it's getting a lot more rocky, and the trail goes straight towards this thing.
Ooh.
That looks like a tomb.
Yeah.
That it does. Well,
That's not fun.
it's open.
It is open.
But can it be closed?
Sorry, I was-
Now, are we?
Yes, it can be closed. You could physically move this thing and close it, if you wanted to.
Hey,
Okay.
Saul and Balder together could move it.
We might need that.
I mean, you know,
torch.
well,
The
I don't
torch.
know if you noticed, but it was raining.
It's no longer
So-
raining.
Yeah, but I mean, my piece of wood that I was using as a torch would have gotten quite wet.
Oh, that's true.
So
Is there
we're gonna
any
have to
trees or anything near us at the moment?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of trees everywhere, here and there.
with
You're not-
dry wood.
Yeah, you have dry wood. If you look around for a while, you find a bunch of dry wood, and you could make a fire if you wanted to.
Okay.
More specifically, a
Dry
torch
enough wood.
or torches.
Like you find you find a few twigs that you can basically start burning, and then you make some of the other twigs that are bigger getting dry, and then eventually you could rebuild a new torch. It would take 20 minutes or so, but you could do it.
Okay. I don't mind starting a fire. It's getting dark anyhow. I don't mind starting a fire outside this tomb.
It is somewhere around 4 o'clock.
Okay. But if we can get some sort of fire going and get a torch, so we can start checking out what's inside here.
You make a fire outside, and how many torches do you want to make?
I mean, I would imagine just the one, right? It's the quickest way for us to just get in there. But I mean, up to you guys. Do you think we'll need more than one?
Well, you make
Here's a
fire.
question.
We can both.
Here's a
Go ahead.
question. I'm going to walk up to the tomb. First off, do I feel any sort of breeze coming from the tomb?
Nope.
No. Okay. Okay. In that case, I don't think we have to really worry about any. There's no opening on the other end. We don't have to worry about the torch going out unless we stay in there too long. So I don't think we need multiple unless you guys have a different opinion. Okay. So I guess we spend the time to make a torch, and around what time is it by then?
4:30.
Okay.
So it takes you about 30 minutes to create that fire, so to say.
Sure. And this is near the entrance of the cave, or the tomb.
Yeah, the tomb. To give you a timeline of things, you arrived at the cave 9 o'clock in the morning. And you've been walking and standing still for a while, excavating and examining things, and now it's 4 o'clock. 4:30 basically.
We probably ought to eat.
You've been eating a little bit,
Yeah,
but you also eat a little bit now. You have a fire, so it's a good opportunity.
Okay. Yeah.
But this is basically your.
So we'll set up a sort of mini camp here now.
Yeah. You have a tiny mini camp straight outside of the tomb.
I'd like to enter the tomb with a torch.
Are you all joining him?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
The tomb looks very old. You've seen not tombs, but you've seen cave works, or you've seen people working in like stone, and whatever person or people who created this, their skill is so behind in time. Like you believe you could do this better. And as you walk around, you suddenly see cave paintings.
Okay.
And sorry, I've made them myself, so don't. If you criticize, you will die pretty quick. I promise.
Now, does Baldur think that he could have drawn these images better?
Nope, absolutely not. These are the best paintings in the entire world, to your standards.
I see.
And if
Incredible.
Baldur tries,
so the stonemason If Baldur tries to do better, what happens?
No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
Yeah.
Baldur could make this better. Baldur could definitely paint better than this.
What is
Little sea
what is
looking
that
thing.
thing above the tree? That's some sort of sickle?
You
Sort of pink thing. What does that look like?
you recognize this as a tool that you use to
Okay.
cut grass with.
Right. A
Okay.
sickle. Okay.
Or in
Okay.
this case, to cut people with.
Or cut people with.
Or cut people with.
Honestly, that kind of reminds me of the giant skull we found in the cave.
Yeah, definitely. Um, does the tomb go further deeper?
No, it's a very closed place. It like you can walk
Okay.
around for a bit. You can crawl around here and there, but it's like a one room with a pedestal in the middle. There's some urns that are basically empty, and it's just a big room.
Pedestal, you say?
Yeah, like a
What does
pillar.
this pedestal look like?
A pillar
Oh, a
to
pillar.
hold up the roof. Sorry, I might have said it wrong.
Got it. Sure.
It's like they're sacrificing people.
It really looks like it.
Yeah. All right. So there's nothing else in this room other than the cave paintings.
No, urns basically, and that's it. And something that looks like what would be the place you put a dead body in. It's not a coffin, but you know
sure.
you could lift
The
a
sarcophagus
lid,
kind of thing.
like a stone thing, like a big
Okay.
stone
Oh,
tablet
is
above
it
something.
on top of it?
Yeah, there's
Oh.
like a stone lid that is basically lying there, and you guess if you pushed it, there would be something underneath it.
Want to help me move this, Sulo? See what's in here?
Sure.
Because, yeah, I would like to look inside the coffin.
You push the stone to the side, and it's a very slow, annoying stone grinding sound you hear. And Corvold, you're the first person to see down, and you see a old skeleton lying there, and it has the same really old. You can all see it now. It has the same really old bone structure with eyes a little bit apart, a big nose, or a bigger nose hole, and it also has a crown and a big sword in it.
How big of
Crown
a
with
sword?
sword?
Sorry?
How big is this sword?
It's very big, actually. The skeleton is also quite big. It would be something you would have to wield with two hands, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And strangely, it's made of bronze.
The sword or the skeleton?
The sword.
Okay.
You imagine that it would break the second you just picked it up, maybe.
Oh, the sword might break if I tried picking it up.
Yeah, it's you look at it and it's really really old. It has a lot of cracks in it.
Very
and
rusty.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And the crown is the
Um,
same thing. It's very dirty. The crown might hold if you picked it up, but it's a very... Imagine old bronze crown.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I want to do anything to this tomb, to be honest.
Yeah.
It seems like bad mojo.
Mm-hmm.
Get some, what we're already cursed enough as it is. Kind of want to leave it as it is.
Are you cursed? Do you think you're cursed?
Yes.
I don't know what else this would be considered. Oh,
Well, that's a fun noise.
that's. I think we. Is that cracking
Coming from
stone right
outside?
here?
It's coming from outside.
Ah,
Go to the entrance to see what's there.
As
yeah,
you
so do
look
I.
outside, you see something pushing trees down. So you see a big tree and it's go like that.
Okay.
Did we? Okay, we just see a tree fall.
Yeah, it's like 200 meters away from you. Just see it like that.
Okay.
There are also it's a very thick place. There's so many trees around the area that you can't see that far. So you basically see a bunch of treetops go down like that in the distance.
Do we try to leave or do we try to seal the door?
You can sort of seal the door behind us. I don't know if I trust this shoddy craftsmanship of this tomb,
Yeah.
but
Does
can it be
look
shut
like-
from the inside?
Yeah, you could shut it from the inside.
Does it
We
look
also
like
not have any
how the
light.
trees are?
Sorry, what did you say, Corvold?
Does it look like the trees are like falling like toward us, like the
No,
trees are falling
the side, and not towards you. So other side.
Yeah,
Okay.
but like
So
the
something
path
that could be
the trees are
passing
falling.
by.
Yeah.
So it's only like 5 o'clock right now.
Yeah. It's
So
very.
pretty bright out. Now we
Probably
noticed
not
it
a
was getting
troll.
darker.
Mhm.
Is that still the case? Was that?
The
Is it? Was
surrounding-
it? Sorry. Let me say.
Yeah.
Was it getting unnaturally dark?
Yes, it is getting unnaturally dark.
Okay.
As you observe the sky, the atmosphere looks strange.
Okay. So, all right. Do we try to figure out what this thing is, knocking down trees, or what do you think? What do you? Because our fire is currently outside of the tomb.
Yes, there's a small fireplace yes, outside.
So do we want to go try to see what this thing is?
I mean, honestly, I want to get close enough to look at it. If it can knock down trees, it's probably big enough to see without being in a dangerous range. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I do think we ought to get a little bit closer and just find out what's going on.
Do you all want to get closer to this thing?
I don't want him to go alone, so I'm gonna be going with.
Yeah.
All right, so you
I suppose
all
we can all go.
yeah. You all start to sneak a little bit forward, very slowly, and eventually you can see it, or you see a big furry back structure of a creature that resembles a boar. That is, you don't see its head, you just see the body currently. And suddenly you see something very strange when you're getting a little tiny closer. There are trees and branches growing out of this thing. And suddenly it heads,
Okay.
lifts up, and you see that it's a big, enormous boar that is basically eating stones and dirt currently. And in its mouth, like trees are growing out of its mouth and nose.
Are you saying that they are visibly getting larger? They are visibly growing, or we just see trees in its mouth?
Oh, you see trees in its mouth, or you see things growing out of this thing. And not like actively growing now, but it's
Okay,
over.
that was my question. Cool.
Yeah. And you also see like it's part of its
cool.
back has like cracked open, and you see tree twigs grow out of its back as well.
Okay.
Huh. Well, that's and we saw it eating stuff. Do we see any sort of tracks for it that we would recognize?
Yes, you recognize the exact same tracks. The reason why it's making these tracks is because it's not really lifting its legs, it's pulling its left like you're plowing on a farm.
Huh.
So it's behaving in a very strange way.
I wonder if it has anything to do with like the heart of the forest or not.
What is the heart of the forest?
Well, we
I
kind of
don't know.
we kind of made note of something that in the book it said that all of the trees all the trees of faces face towards the source of power. Does it seem to be moving in a direction corresponding with that, or no?
This thing, no.
Okay.
It's not moving. It's actually moving away from you currently.
Oh.
I think the book said it moved northwest.
Yes, before. It's not moving northwest now.
Okay.
The sun is currently high enough for you to triangulate kind of its direction, and it's moving south basically right now.
Do we try to get its attention? I don't know. Does it look hostile? Does it look? What does it look like? It's just eating, right?
It's just eating. It's just eating stuff. It doesn't act and behave like an animal, by the way. Like you've seen wild boars doing things in nature, like you've sit there and observed them. This isn't a wild boar.
Okay.
Do we see any of the faces in the trees around us?
Yeah, you see a few.
Can we tell which direction they're facing or not?
Yes, you can actually. They don't point all in a correct same direction, but they seem to be moving towards a direction you came from.
Okay.
The direction we came from being the cave.
Direction you came from being
The village?
village and
Or the village.
village.
We followed the trail that only
This
Corvo-
strange boar creature is now starting to disappear further away. You were actually successful at sneaking up on it because it made so much sound that it didn't hear you, and now it's starting to disappear.
Okay.
If you're interested in following it, you could do that.
I am kind of curious on where this thing is going, but I don't want to get too far away from from a campfire that we've already set up.
Yeah, it is starting to get dark as well.
Yeah. Let's say you
Is it eating?
guys about be. Go ahead.
Is it eating like trees and stones or?
Yes.
Okay. So it's like a pretty safe assumption that this is the thing that took a bite out of the stone we saw.
Yes.
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
And it checks the same tracks that we noticed.
Okay.
The dragging sort of tracks.
All right. Is it moving away from the direction the faces are facing?
Yes, it's moving away from the direction of the faces, actually.
Okay. Okay. Did you want to camp through the night?
Probably. Yeah, I suppose so. We got plenty of food still, so I'm okay with camping a little bit for another night.
It's getting... Do you want to camp inside a crypt, by the way? Or outside the crypt?
I think we'll camp outside the crib. That's fine by me.
So you camp, and you do the similar night routines. And who is night watch first?
I think if
Well,
we
I
were
think it
going
was
in kind
me
of
first,
order-
then it was. I think Corvold would be the first one.
Well, like the first night
This
it
time.
was Balder, then Corvold and Sulo. Then the second night was Corvold went first.
Then Balder, then the you.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I guess we could keep alternating Balder and Corvold.
So, if I understand correctly, Balder keeps night, then Corvold, and then Sulu, you wake up at last.
Yeah.
Sure.
Nothing really happens this night. You are sleeping, and eventually you wake up in the next day morning as usual. All the tracks marks from yesterday are still there.
So they've not disappeared after a certain number of hours.
No. The trail that you see is also still there.
Okay.
Do I see the trail now?
No.
Okay. Do
No,
you
you don't.
guys want to? If this thing's trails are still the trail is still here, do you think we ought to try tracking it? Because the trail hasn't disappeared like it normally does.
This is this is the trail that goes back to the village. Corvold and Sul remembers that.
Oh! I thought you were talking about the tracks for the creature.
Oh, those you see. All of you guys, you see those.
We see the tracks still. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was suggesting.
Okay.
Speaking of the creature and the tracks, how quick was the thing moving?
Very, very slow.
That's what I figured.
Imagine crawling. Like, it could normally walk
Right.
like a normal boar, but it looked like it was actually crawling.
So, assuming Corvold has told us what he's read in the book, do we want to follow the creature, or I think there was also some interest in going to where the trees were facing.
Yeah.
You could walk towards where the trees were facing. You have triangulate like a direction that could be. It's not towards a trail, by the way.
Do we want to follow the creature?
I think there was more about that town than what we had seen.
Okay,
Sorry.
we can head back.
So you have potentially 3 possible pathways. You have back to the little village. You could follow the creature, or you could go towards the faces of the trees.
Personally, I'm thinking either the village or the trees. I'm gonna leave it up to a vote what you guys want to do.
I was thinking trees, but
I was also thinking trees.
okay.
Let's go with that then.
The trees
Sort
are
of. Yeah, no, that's fine. You can go ahead.
all right. The trees are going uphill, actually. And so you continue upwards. And eventually, after walking for a short while of... hard to estimate, but it's still very early in the morning, you suddenly reach a place you've already been at.
Okay, so the trees were pointing towards this.
They
Okay.
You believe so?
So this is the.
So we see all
park.
all the trees around us are facing the guy. I'm assuming.
Yeah. If you when you start to walk around and excavate the area, you see a lot of other trees that are facing towards this. As you're walking, to just clarify your hypothesis that if all trees were pointing at one direction, you think this would be it.
Okay.
Didn't the thing in the village say something about sacrificing that which is precious to you?
You remember the picture? This is what it had.
Yes. We are sacrifice to you. Surrender what is most precious to you. I want to leave the figurine with the tree man, woodman.
All right. Do you do anything special when you do that?
There's definitely a lot of
talks about blood.
Yeah.
But is it my blood or is it the blood of something else? Do I notice like any sap or anything coming from the trees or not?
Yes, there are sap coming from the trees.
Where on the trees?
Here and there.
Okay.
So the question is drink the sap, which is the blood of the trees, or bleed yourself onto the tree?
That's a good question.
I'll follow suit, and I'm gonna take off my necklace with the charm on it.
The necklace from Mom.
That one. Yeah.
And that was a small thing.
And I'd
for
like
Father,
to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you do anything special? And
I'd
where
like
do you place it?
to. Well, I guess I'll place it in his lap, where his bag was.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, and you still have the bag.
Sure. Where the bag was,
I forgot it.
not where it is anymore, obviously.
Forgot to add that to your inventory.
Mm-hmm.
Can remove that one.
I guess I'll grab a dagger. I'll cut myself in a place where it's not gonna be an issue with my daily life. I guess I'll just cut myself on the back of my arm here and sort of let a small amount of blood drip onto the man's lap.
All right.
I am going to take my bone knife and cut the back of my arm with my bone knife and put it in his lap.
The knife you had from your father.
Yes.
So you've basically given away the knife that you got from your father, the other necklace that you got, and a necklace from Mom. And you place it in the lap.
Sure.
Do you want to do anything more here?
I was gonna say I was gonna also cut my arm to add my blood to the figurine in the lap.
There is probably some sort of
like
do you think we
a
ought to
saying
be
or
saying the maybe the Rouse Gratishi Rouse Burmushi whatever the one that was in the book.
yeah.
The one that
Like
was on its
the,
own.
the chant.
Yeah.
Yeah, here. This one. You mean this one?
That one right there.
Yes.
That's my guess. That's the one that talks about inner light, inner dark. WildHjart always wants blood or something.
I'm gonna say it says something about drinking the blood too.
Mm-hmm.
But which blood?
I'm gonna have a taste of some sap.
It doesn't taste well at all.
It doesn't taste well.
It's like,
Okay.
That's
Definitely sap.
it's sap. Is there anything more? You have currently tossed away three items, and you put a tiny bit of blood on the tree man, basically.
Yes.
So okay, so that the chant on the right. First off, I think it's supposed to. It's not the song. It's not the song that the tree people sing, because that's on the missing page.
Okay.
So. Are we supposed to try doing what he did, sitting in a lotus position and making the Twarmar Latobgur chant?
Could, yeah.
What do you think? I think we ought to sit next to this tree with this guy and see what we see. I don't want to turn into wood, obviously, but I mean, obviously this guy did this and had the ability to write more in his book, so I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, this is somewhere in the middle of the
I also-
text of the book.
Right. I also kind of want to find out what traumat latabur means.
Mm-hmm.
So trauma to show. And
What was the other word?
L.
L, I suppose.
Marker.
This is the
Oh,
Latopagor.
Lato.
Latab.
Latopgur.
Okay. So show. Lion? Oh. Show all of.
And then the UR. What was UR again?
Sorry, you are?
The UR. It was something, wasn't it?
The two words.
If we were to go to the U section.
Oh, sorry, you. Oh, I understand.
Well, regardless of what we know what it means, I guess, I'm going to go ahead and sit down and start chanting, I guess, see what happens. If anything happens, we'll find out.
So you sit down and you start to meditate and basically chant Latopgur. What did you say now again? Trauma Latopaggur. Is that what you're saying over and over?
Yeah.
Nothing
After
really
asking how to
happens.
pronounce that.
It's basically Traumat Latopaggur. Basically. But you
And
know,
I guess I'll also try to visualize the picture in my mind. I'll add that visualization, thinking of some sort of forest god.
yeah.
What that would look like.
The boar.
You don't really see much, actually. You see trails. Nothing really happens, actually. How did you
What
feel
do you mean I
when
see
you...
trails?
Yeah.
What do you mean when I saw trails?
You don't really see much. Sorry.
It's all good.
How did it feel when, Korvold, when you put down the little knife that you had on the lap of this guy, how did it feel? I mean, you just lost your parents, and this is the last thing you have from your parents.
Yeah. I felt like I was giving up part of me.
Alright. You all suddenly see a man, and this is not a stone, this is not a statue, this is actually a real figuring man standing somewhere very far down in the forest with a very long beard, and he looks at you and he turns away and starts to walk away.
Gonna follow.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I want to quickly follow. I want to try to catch up to him.
Yeah. You don't seem to actually see him anymore. He kind of disappears, and when you start to kind of track him, it should be quite easy to actually track a real old man, but he doesn't leave a single track on the ground. It's like he was actually never there.
Does he seem to be the same old man that is wooden on the by the tree?
They might have looked similar,
Okay.
but you don't really seem to see him. However, you do see a trail you haven't seen before.
Does Balder also see the trail?
Yes, he does. You all see it.
Okay.
We all see a trail. Well, following trails seems to have gotten us to certain places, so let's follow a trail, I suppose.
You keep following it for a while, and it takes about a day, but then suddenly the trees are starting to look
Whole day. Wow.
a little bit more gentle, and a little bit more light is coming in through the tree branches, and the sky is lighting up a little bit. But your sadness is still in your hearts. I mean, you have nothing from your parents anymore. And suddenly you see how the trees are starting to spread apart even more. And you suddenly walk out on a large field.
Okay.
You don't really recognize where you are, but far away in the distance, in an open field, you see a really big castle with like walls of stone and etc.
Is it well kept? Or is it like run down and old like everything else we've seen?
It is very well kept. You even see a person pulling a wagon somewhere close at it.
Huh.
Well, I guess we should approach.
You turn around.
That is a human.
It's a human very far away.
Sorry. Yes.
You turn around and you look at what's behind you. And you see the very old man surrounded by a little bit of fog. He looks at you with very staring eyes. And he does this. And then he points at you. And then he turns around and walks back into the forest. And the fog devours him. And that is basically the end.
Nice.
I'm guessing that you didn't
Very
really
nice.
catch the true mystery. Or what do you guys think?
Not
You've basically
quite.
escaped the forest.
Okay.
I mean,
What did we miss?
So you missed a little bit on how so this is the afterwards, the after story, basically how things were going. So there are several ways you can escape this forest. The plot is basically you're trapped by the forest, and you need to. And as you said, you figured out that you were cursed, and you were kind of troll binded by the forest. And that happened because, as you understood in the text, the forest drinks blood. So when you sacrificed that deer, the forest came to life from the blood.
Okay.
And it sought to kill you. It wanted you to die.
so okay. So what stopped that? How did we stop the forest from killing us?
Basically, getting out of the forest. And there are a few ways you can. There are like 3 ways you can do that. The first, most simple way is that you sacrifice to the forest the way that you did. And to give you guys an example, the book, you still have the book with you.
Right.
The person who wrote the book got trapped in the forest as well. So do you want to guess why the book ended up there?
I'm guessing that's what he sacrificed to get out.
Yes.
Oh, we sacrificed the book.
And
Okay.
if one of you guys had said, "My precious thing in life is my brother," the only way you could get out of this forest is by sacrificing that brother.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Super glad we all picked material items.
Yeah, you picked items. But it is and another thing that is very important, you almost killed yourself because the forest drinks blood. The forest doesn't want your happiness. It wants to devour your blood. So, but
Right.
if you would have put more blood on the altar, it would probably have been able to consume you, and getting more. The more blood
cool.
it gets, the more power the forest grows. So, for example, the troll actually knew this, And he knew that if the troll kills you, the forest will eventually kill the troll.
I see.
So if you would have killed the troll, the forest would have grown in power as well.
Okay.
Huh. So that's why he was afraid. Did he actually not want? He was actually just afraid of us, but not the fire. Is that right?
I'm not gonna answer if he
Or
was
some of
afraid
both.
of the fire, but he was basically afraid that it would turn into a fight and he would kill you.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
That-
he was afraid to kill us, and he was afraid that we would kill him. Yeah.
So how is he getting like human skin if he's
He got that from before.
okay?
So he's
So like not in the
Before
forest.
What? Might I
not
ask?
in the forest.
Before what exactly? Oh, he just had them before he came into the forest.
Yeah. He was trapped there together with you as well.
Okay.
He had been there for a while, so to say, and he had figured out that the forest is living and then trying to drink blood, but he didn't know how to escape.
Sure.
The second way to escape is to basically figure out the entire history of this forest, and that comes from the cave paintings. So the dragon was killed, and from the dragon blood, the forest started to come alive, and then people sacrificed.
So it's
Became a cult, and then eventually the forest became hungry and became corrupt and hungry for blood.
Hmm.
so I assume it's like the
Okay.
sort of the magical nature of the dragon's blood brought the forest to life. That's cool.
Yes, and the cult that was created because the forest was they figured out the forest is a living god and they wanted to worship it, so they started to sacrificing people to it. It corrupted the forest and made it into a dark, hungry, blood-sucking thing. And when you were, as I was asking you a lot of strange questions like, what is observing you? Why is this happening to you? And you answered, I'm cursed. So when you were starting to say the correct answers, I was saying, okay, now you see more of the trails, because the forest magic is currently concealing and making a illusion, and it's making you walk in circles.
Okay.
Sure.
So the more knowledge
Alright.
you basically gain, the more you could see on the trail. The more trails you could see.
Okay. What was the boar?
The boar is something the forest has consumed. The boar is no longer a boar.
Okay.
The boar is actually the forest.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
And if that thing would have seen you, it would have tried to kill you.
Here.
So I guess we just got kind of lucky, to be honest, with a lot of the choices we made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as the boar, obviously, not fighting the troll, obviously.
Yes. I was actually surprised there. I thought you were gonna kill it. I thought you were.
I thought about it.
Yeah, I was thinking about it.
Thought about it. But then it's like he has a giant stick, and we have a bow and arrow and an axe.
He's got a stick the size of my brother. I think he could kill my brother with one swing of that stick.
The troll would actually never try to actually kill you, because
Right. No, I get
basically
that, but like, I mean, now I get it, obviously. But
We didn't know that at the time, though.
from everything my character knew, it's a troll that eats people. I'm going to
Yeah,
try to.
if this troll didn't know that the forest was this blood-consuming thing, he would definitely eat you. Like, this is a human-eating
Yeah.
troll. This strange situation made it difficult for it.